GameHounds here. We are running a bit late. How you doing? I'm completely unprepared for today's show. This is the first time in how many years have been doing the show? 13 years.
13?
Yeah, 2008. So that would be 13 years. This is the first time that I have not done anything before a show. I am completely unprepared.
Just so a busy chaotic week.
No.
Vacation week.
It took 13 years, but I ran out of fucks today. I need a day of giving 0 fucks, and then I will, get a fuck recharge.
And then the fucks will regrow, and your field will you'll begin to reap the fucks again, and you'll be able to pass
that's exactly what's going to happen. I just needed to. Some weeks my giving 0 fucks happen on Monday. Sometimes they happen on Wednesday. Has never happened on Sunday before because I just somehow find an ability to have some more fucks. But this week, no, I didn't get any extra fucks.
When you pass out all the fucks,
Yeah,
they're gone.
All the fucks gone. Yep. So, no fucks this week. So no, essentially I'm running the show and I'm letting Nick and Andrew do it for me.
So on that topic, let's talk about anime.
Oh, so somebody just posted. I can't look it up, but I've no more fucks to give.
Oh, is that a song?
It must be
fun.
It must be. If you can, I can't do a copy paste, but if you want to copy paste and pull it up, I will totally play that shit right now. Just share it and make sure that you share with audio. Cause I don't know. Maybe. Oh, by the way, happy Easter.
Oh yeah, happy Easter.
Maybe that's what it is, but just wasn't my day. Okay, hold on a second. I'm going to remove this real quick.
Okay.
You need to go back, share that tab with audio so we get direct audio instead of it coming through your mic.
Oh, I thought I did share it with audio.
Make sure of that because it sure sounded like
name, stop, scream. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna stop.
Yep.
Let me try it again.
Am I gonna buy the hobby horse in ESO? God, I haven't logged in. I'm still paying for it. I gotta get rid of my thing. Mom showed up. Okay. All right.
Okay.
All right.
It should be
adding to the stream. Go right ahead. Hit play.
I strive to get everything done. I play by all the rules, but I very rarely won. I've smiled, I've charmed, I would have laughed, alas, to no avail. I'd run round like a moron to unequivocally fail. I've no more fucks to give. My fuck fuse has just blown. I've been hunting for my fucks all day, but they've upped and fucked off home. I've no more fucks to give. My fuck rations are depleted. I've rallied my fuck army, but it's been fucking defeated. The effort has just not been worth the time.
Okay, without getting into any DMCA takedown.
Yeah.
Yes. That
3
is
minutes.
Exactly what's going on.
Okay.
With me. Yeah. My fuck army has been defeated. So, Corey Wallace says they've temporarily reset your skills, etc., so you'll be pissed again. Fuck me. This game just does not want me to come back. Just doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Bitters, how you doing?
That sucks.
Yeah. So we're waiting for Andrew to come back. I guess his mom showed up.
Huh. I guess in the meantime, I will say I did watch My Hero Academia. I watched the first season of that.
Yeah, it's
That was
really
pretty good. It
It's
is really
really
good.
good.
It's funny watching it because having seen Naruto, I feel like a lot of the story beats are almost exact. Students, they sort of train, has students, then they fight each other, then they go on a mission, the teachers get involved with some, major event, and it's like beat for beat, it's like, oh, you followed the exact same outline. But the world is different enough that I'm still invested, that I think, okay, I want to see what happens because you're throwing your own twists on a lot of this stuff that make it interesting.
Right.
And I will say, last week, I just had the base. This week, I've been able to make floor 1. There are 6 floors to this thing. So in theory, over the next 6 weeks, I'll just be adding a layer as I go through a season. So that's my progress.
Hey,
That's my
you got
anime
Miles.
progress. Yep, shonen tropes. Yep. And Bitters says that Warframe will always be there to welcome you.
Will it give me a sense of fox? Will it help me find my fox?
Nothing can help you find your fucks. You must find the fucks within yourself. You must grow them yourself.
I don't know about
the fucks
that.
are the friends we made along the way.
No.
No? Okay.
No. No. So, Bitter says Team Nick. Yeah, maybe it's just too much Crusader Kings, maybe. Because I keep on like, I gotta sit down and finish up Ghost of Tsushima. No, I just don't. It's
I mean, that's part of the like if you have a game you like, then play that game that you like. Why force yourself into
I'm
doing
not
something?
exactly liking. I mean, I like Crusader Kings. It's like now it's a lot like being married 20 years. Like at a certain point you go, I'm not really enjoying it like I used to, but I'm kind of married to it now. I gotta I don't know. Everything's just kind of drained of energy. I'm just kind of going through the motions. March was hard. And I should be super excited because my county is now open to everybody age 16 and older.
Oh,
and I think
nice.
That's what kind of did it for me, because once that happened, I mentioned it here before that I have a show that I do for that I do every single day at 5:00. It started out as my neighborhood, but now it's kind of grown into the whole city.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not a lot of listeners, but it's enough, and it's the same people. It's being done on Spreaker, so you remember Spreaker, that we could talk in the chat room and everything. And that's what people are doing every day. They're all the same people are coming in, we're all talking with each other. Here it is right there. So when we our county went to 16 and older, we're the first county in the state to do it. Shit got real. On Monday they opened it for age 50 and older without any pre-existing conditions. On Tuesday they opened it for 16 and older. So it was a bam bam, and then it became just like this huge thing, and it just took so much out of me because news was changing at every single moment. I was trying to help people find out the best ways to get appointments. It just was exhausting. And I think that took all the fucks. That took all the fucks for the week. It was like the fuck quotient of a normal show, and then all the fuck quotient for GameHounds all happened at the same time. So that's all what happened there, and so it's kind of nuts here right now, to say the least, for vaccines. But I get my second shot not in 2 weeks, in 10 days. I get my second shot.
Okay. Because yeah, don't you have to wait like almost a whole month?
To wait a month.
Okay.
So I'm getting my second shot then, and I'm taking off. I'm getting it on a Wednesday. I'm taking off Thursday and Friday because I am anticipating that I'm going to be in bed. If part of that, if not all, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Under ideal circumstances, I will have a reaction, because that means it's your body actually mounting a defense of something that it thinks is COVID, so that all the antibodies are being produced. So, hey, guys. So ESO is free to play until 4/13.
That's
Corey
kinda
Wallace
cool.
says. Up your head. You're muted, Andrew.
Sorry about stepping away like that.
It's okay.
No problem.
Yeah, she showed up. She was going to be gone for a second, but she didn't want to be on camera or anything like that. So, I was listening, and yeah, Edie, you've had a rough week if you were trying to keep up with all of that.
Yeah.
And Nick, My Hero Academia gets better.
It gets better.
Okay.
It's already good, but it just keeps getting better.
I mean, I saw the second season is twice as long as the first one. It's got like 26 episodes instead of 13, so I imagine I'll be able to add 2 floors to the little model while getting through that one. So
they just started season 5, and
that's what I heard.
Everything about it is fantastic, and apparently it's going to get, even for me, better as things go on.
So,
cool.
Puppy update. She was asleep, so she's kind of like, what the fuck's going on? But this is how she's doing now. She's getting big. Look at that.
Yeah.
Look how big she is now. How you doing there, Mia? She's
still cute.
Yeah, she's still cute, but she's
still a little shy to be on camera. Don't worry.
Well, no, I don't think she's shy to be on camera. I just woke her up. All right, go back to sleep now. She's be like, fuck no, I'm awake. Now shit's gonna get real. Nope, she went right back. So shall we start this show?
Yeah. He saw dogs and he's like, fuck that. I'm not gonna be
shown up.
one-upped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm the cute one at the show. Dicks. Bitter says My Hero Academia is so slow.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I can see the argument, but it's not. I don't think it's that slow.
I guess
they definitely draw a lot of stories out a little bit longer.
I feel like it's slow in the way that shonen anime just generally is slow. When you look back on it, it's like, wow, a lot has changed since then. But I mean, the first season, hey, he trained, he got some powers, he did some schooling, he had a big fight. It kind of hit all the important beats.
The first few episodes can be considered pretty slow, I think, because they don't really. I mean, they start off with a little bit of action, but it's not main.
It does the thing that I said about anime, is that you got to watch 4 episodes.
Yeah,
that is the intro. 4 episodes is the actual beginning of the show. Because, funny enough, after the 4th episode, he actually gets powers. Because he starts with no powers, and it's like,
he uses powers for the first time that episode, for sure.
Does he not? I think he thought he just gets it.
Oh, maybe.
Either way, by the end of the 4th one, you're like, okay, I see what the premise of this show is now. Because after the first episode, you're like, what the fuck is going on?
Right? Yeah.
What's the point of all this?
Oh, you'll enjoy this. Corey, I'm waiting for it to load up on my phone, but I just got a notification. I just got a notification on my phone. Did I go away?
Damn it, Shepard.
Yeah, it just went away. That ESO is free to play. I just got it on my phone from PlayStation.
Right.
Yeah.
What was it a notification of?
ESO free to play, like Corey Wallace just said.
Oh.
All right, so shall we start the show? I should probably have done all of this earlier. I still haven't typed anything in because I'm fucking don't give a fuck.
Who needs
I have
headers?
no
That's
more
what we're for.
fucks to give.
We give
Well, I mean,
audio
it's not
headers.
just, and that's just not headers. It's like, I don't want to really be doing this show on the other community show. Hey, everybody, fuck you. I've got no fucks to give. Yeah, bad idea.
Here we understand.
Right. You guys get me.
Yeah, I only have Kyle's to give.
Okay, let's get this ready to do. And of course, as soon as I start, now I gotta pee. Isn't that the way it always is? Did you do anything interesting for Easter?
I slept till
I'm here.
1:30 in the afternoon. Yeah.
Wait, you didn't work today?
No, I don't work Sundays.
Hey.
Normally, let me
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Excuse me?
What was I doing
Then what
last week?
exactly are you doing every Sunday that you're not here?
That's his other job.
I sometimes get called in, but I am not scheduled for Sunday. Good to go?
I just had to switch my headset because my cord is on this side, and otherwise it goes across my body and it drags my head to the left. What?
DJ Phil Cullen says he did 3 sleeves of Cadbury eggs. Jesus, man.
Do you need to go to the hospital? Should I call someone? Do you need your stomach pumped? That is bad.
He's a friend of mine in real life, and he'll just go into a coma for the next 16 hours.
Okay. I guess whatever works for you.
Jesus Christ, that is not good. Seriously. Oh my God. And he answers it with, "Oh yeah." Like it's something to be proud of. DJ, no, it is not. This is not a point of pride. This is shame. This should be shame. He says he's got a high tolerance. That's called diabetes. Everywhere else, it's called diabetes. Yeah, if he lives, yep. If he lives, he's got a high tolerance. That which does not kill you makes you stronger.
Listen, he's been doing Cadbury eggs for years. He's well accustomed to them.
Cadbury eggs like it's drugs.
He knows how to Cadbury responsibly.
I got an 8-ball of Cadbury eggs. Has anybody got some Narcan? Because I'm going for the 4th sleeve just to see. Can I take it?
At that point, you got to come up with new ways to eat them.
We do the eggs now. Yep. Cops are coming. Flush the eggs.
Cadbury eggs. Cadbury,
no, you don't flush them. They're too good to flush. Just eat them fast. Shove them in your mouth.
We need to get a hold of Cadbury for a ad pitch. We have a good one.
Now I really have to pee because at my age, you have to worry about a full bladder and laughing this hard. Things happen.
Scene, dark alley. Guy walks up nervous. Guy in a trench coat opens. I have the stuff. Pulls out a sleeve of Cadbury eggs. It's premium stuff.
Dude.
You want one or the whole sleeve?
Got eggs? Got eggs?
No, he's not snorting. He's like, oh, I gotta wipe the drool off. Oh yeah. Oh.
Need some eggs, man. Need some eggs.
I've got some whipped eggs in here too. You know, you put in a cup, suck it through with a straw. People won't even know what you're eating.
That's not real eggs. You cut my eggs, man. You cut my eggs with baking soda.
It's not pure Cadbury.
I'm pure Cadbury. I don't do
You-
Cadbury.
You put milk in there, didn't you?
Alrighty then.
You cut it with Peeps.
Oh, oh. That's probably the worst thing you've ever said, Edie.
Just shave a little off the end and throw some Peeps on.
It's like it's coming out of the egg.
Oh, God. He says, it's my vice of choice. I get battered on Easter. You're not eggless, you're legless.
Oh no, we went too far. He doesn't get into the Peeps. That's a vice too far.
He says sometimes they cut him with peanut butter. It's
Oh,
okay.
okay. Okay.
Them Reese's Cadbury eggs.
He says don't get into Peeps. They destroy lives. Wow, we have taken this analogy all the way to the end, across the finish line, and just kept going. He said, Vice says, put them in freezer bags, freeze, crush, and then you can put down a line.
Oh yeah, you could.
You could do a line. You'd cut it with a credit card, and then be like,
Instead of you putting the straw in your nose, you just
that was
put it in
good.
your mouth.
Good stuff, man. Ready to go.
He's looking for a hammer.
All right.
Should we get to games?
We should actually start the show, but now I have to pee. So I really,
Okay.
really do.
You have to pee. I have to take care of Jupiter because he needs to pee.
No, don't leave me.
Bye.
Bye. It's all you now.
Well, shit. Well, how's it going, everyone? Yeah. If you guys are looking for anything to watch and you happen to have stars, been watching American Gods. Apparently has 3 seasons. It's a lot of fun. The premise is you kind of learn as things go on that there are gods, like all the old gods, essentially from almost every religion, exist in the world. But they're losing power. And there are some new gods in this case. They're like gods of technology, essentially. And you follow one particular character, a human, as far as I know, named Shadow Moon, as he just gets out of prison, and a particular god picks him up and gets him to work like in his service. It's pretty cool. It's really trippy, but it's based off an old book series that started in 2003. There's 27 of them. And yeah, if you're looking for something to watch, there's that. It has like some amounts of full frontal male nudity, so be aware. But yeah, that's on Stars. And I only got Stars because I had an urge to watch Looper. And it was like, there's a free week trial on like Amazon or like any services that you can kind of add cable companies to. Right. Now I've run out of things to say because that's pretty much been my entire week, outside of maybe Monster Hunter, but I'll keep that for the show. I guess to pick up Nick's Anime Corner, if you're looking for stuff to watch there, Jujutsu Kaisen was a good one. That season just finished for season 1. It's a shonen anime. In this world, like, negative thoughts create cursed spirits. And there are a group of people who use that cursed power to fight them. That's right. Okay, so I have seen Invincible on Prime. That is a good point. I did watch that, and I had forgotten. I don't want to spoil things, but essentially it's a coming-of-an-age superhero story. It's an anime, or an animation cartoon. It's very wholesome, entertaining. Don't watch it with kids. But if you're looking for something fun and actiony, yeah, Invincible's pretty good. It's kind of this world that's kind of a parallel to DC. There's a whole Guardians of the Globe, which are essentially a. Oh no, I forgot, Nick. There we go.
There we go.
I've heard good things about Invincible. I'm curious.
Watch it. Go in blind though, as blind as you can be.
Well, I already know a lot about it because I haven't read the comics, but my brother did. And when he moved, he gave me all of the comics. So I have 7 of the 8 Ultimate editions of the comics. I almost have the entire series. And I've never read it. But I know kind of the general arc of things through him.
Yep.
Well,
At least in the beginning.
They dropped 3 episodes, and then they're going to release it weekly. And the most recent weekly episode was on the 2nd, so there's 4 now. And like I was saying, I don't want to get too far into it, but it's a world like DC where you have the Guardians of the Globe, which is like Batman, the Flash, Wonder Woman, or some kind of Wish versions, some great value versions of them. Although I think the Batman is cooler because Batman in that one has a hoverboard, and that's awesome. Don't watch it with kids, but watch it. It's
It
good.
is from Robert Kirkman, so
who made Walking Dead. If you don't know
Yeah.
who that is,
All right.
you guys,
So
you
shall we
guys
do this?
left me. I'm traumatized. We talked about this.
you did good. You were talking about anime and Invincible.
You were fine. I don't know what you're complaining about.
But it's traumatizing.
All right. So let's do this. I forgot to check mic levels. Oh, well.
That requires a fuck.
All right. Mics are hot. Hello and welcome to GameHounds. GameHounds episode 588. We are recording this on Easter, April 4th, 2021. I'm Edie Sellers. With me is Nick DiNicola and Andrew Smith. We are here full of Cadbury eggs. Do not start us in on Cadbury eggs. We have already talked about Cadbury eggs.
I might have to go buy some after this.
I'm actually a little bit craving it too. So we are, remember, if you are listening to us live audio, you can always go over to YouTube, to Facebook, to Twitch. You can see our faces in doing this live. By the way, thank you to all of our patrons, because if were it not for you, we would not be doing it on video. All of this here is you guys. And don't forget that we do have a Patreon. It is, you can look it up as patreon.com/GameHounds. We only ask for $1 a month. Just whatever you can spare. If you can do $1, cool. If you can't do $1, cool. If you can do more than $1, even better. But it helps to pay for all of this because, of course, it is expensive. It doesn't come free. And if it weren't for you, we would not have done a video show. So thank you very much for all of you being part of it. Also, don't forget, if you are on the YouTube stream, please like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can be here and see us and know that we're doing a show as soon as it's happening. It's helpful. So make sure to hit a thumbs up for us on this particular show if you're in the chat and on YouTube. And if you're watching on Twitter or on Twitch, please subscribe to us. Let us know. Send us whatever you want to send us to tell us if you love us. So we're running late. I have if you're not watching in live, you will not see that my nameplate is zero fucks, giving zero fucks today, because this is the first time in 13 years that I have not prepared anything. Zero news, zero research, zero background. I have got nothing. It was not a horrible week, but it was a really busy week. And just today, I woke up and it's like, nah, I just can't do it today. First time in all these years that I've not been able to research a show. So I'm feeling a little guilty, but you guys made me feel better. Thank goodness we have you two, actually. Nick, I'm relying upon you to do the research.
Again, you carry us so much. It's you deserve a break sometimes.
Thank
Yeah.
you, sir. Thank
We
you
are
so much,
sworn
sir.
to carry your burdens.
Nice.
See, I'm seeing the puppy in the background, and it's like, you're not going to go poop there, are you? Don't even
Uh-oh.
think about it, Mia.
Uh-oh.
Don't even think about it. Can you see her?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that walk. Why don't you head back up? I just took you out. Go lie down somewhere. All right, so what you guys been playing? I'm still on Crusader Kings. This is the last week. This is the last week I'm going to be doing this. I'm not going to do Crusader Kings anymore. I am still playing Revenge of the Titans. I'm now, I think, 4 generations back, maybe 5 now, from the guy that I cheesed to be 100 in every skill. When like 9 is considered average, he was 100 on every single skill. And then I just added up everything else and just made him a god. And now I've still got some sons of his that are still carrying some significant genes from him, but it's not quite so like serious. Like they're in the teens and 20s, but then there's also some sons that are just completely average and everything. So
I mean, it really is like one of those myths, Zeus to Hercules, and then Hercules' kids, and the godly power just kind of gets less and less with every generation until you get
godly
to the
power
puny humans.
just gets less and less. But I am about to wipe out. The only reason why I'm continuing to play is I'm about to wipe out the papacy. I'm about to get rid
Huh.
of Catholicism.
Oh,
Oh
I
my.
was watching a video. I don't know if you linked it to it. Oh shoot, I forget his name. It's like the Brit, like the smithing Brit or something.
Spiffing Brit.
Yeah, he had a whole video where he tried to take over as much as possible with 100-point man, but he
Mhm.
kept using this technique where he would start a scheme to kidnap the leader of a different country, and then like when the message came up, hey, we're ready to execute this scheme, he would like put that window to the side, declare war on them, and then hit execute so that they kidnap the leader, and then like the war would have to be settled within 3 days because they kidnapped the leader.
Oh, see,
And,
I tried to do that with execute. It does not work with execute. I forgot that.
okay,
Yeah, they where I've tried to start an execution scheme on a leader, and then started the war, and then just it's after I started it, then executed the leader, and what ends up happening is it invalidates the war, and the war ends. But I never thought about
yeah,
kidnap.
like with kidnapping, when they give them back, they basically get all the territory as compensation, and he did that to actually get like all of the all of the Byzantine Empire
Right.
at once.
I am down to
And
one
it
single
was
county.
funny.
All I have to do is one more county, and it belongs to the Byzantine Empire. And then I will have the entire kingdom of, or the entire region of Italia. And when I have the region of Italia completely overwhelmed, completely owned by me, then I can destroy the papacy. That's the only reason why I'm going.
That's the end goal.
Only reason why I continue to go on this way. But yeah, I pretty much own most of Aquitaine, most of southern France, most of southern Europe, and then almost all of Italy, including Sardinia and Sicily and all those areas. So, yeah, in my world, Nick, you would not be Italian. In my world, you would be Swedish.
That's a strange world.
Very much so. So, yeah, that's what I've done, and this is gonna be the last fucking night. It's gonna be the last fucking week I do this. I'm not gonna do this anymore. I need
2
to walk
weeks
away.
later, Crusader Kings 3, the
Yeah.
continuing.
New expansion.
Yeah, I'm still watching other people's streams. One of my favorite streams they're doing, Uhtred of Bebenberg, from from Last Kingdom. They're actually emulating that, which is kind of cool.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So, what you guys been playing?
Andrew,
So,
I
yeah.
got too many to.
Yeah, well,
Get
I have
briefly.
like 2 things to kind of mention, I guess. The first one is The Outer Worlds, which is an older game by Obsidian. It's kind of like a Fallout-esque game, or Skyrim, but less Skyrim. And that's proving to be pretty fun. My only criticism of it is that at points it seems a little too easy. And maybe that'll change as I keep going into it. Nick, have you played The Outer Worlds?
Mm-mm.
It is a single-player RPG where you kind of build your character, you put stats just like a Fallout game, and you get perks and like stat points and such. But the combat, like I said, feels a little too easy sometimes. That being said, I kind of love the setting, and that like technically Fallout would be considered sci-fi because it's kind of future technology, but it's also kind of like a post-apocalyptic world, so everything's kind of dialed back as well. Whereas this one's definitely in space, and the story is that you are a colonist on the ship who was supposed to get to the colonies in 10 years, but it malfunctioned and they couldn't wake people up, so they just kept people in deep sleep, and it's been like 80 years. And this crazy guy wakes you up, and he's kind of this crazy scientist, and he gives you a like chemical compound to make sure that you don't liquefy because you've been like frozen for so long. And he wants to wake everyone up, but he needs more chemicals, and that's where you come in. You're going to go and try to find that.
That's not true. Even though Outer Wilds is probably better, I do want to play Outer Worlds.
AC Ray says Nick refuses to play the game because the name gets confused with his beloved Outer Wilds. It does.
Yeah.
It is a shame that they came out right around the same time.
Yeah, and that one is so much better than the other. I say, having only
I'm
played
not gonna
one,
lie. I tried Outer Wilds. I didn't think it was that great.
it's fantastic.
That was the first game that I played on I want to say Xbox Series, the Game Pass. First game I downloaded. Wasn't that impressed. I just kept on playing it, going, should this get better? Because it's
What did you do? Where did you go?
I don't know. I don't remember. It's been a while.
Did you go to the moon?
I did get to the moon.
So with Outer Worlds, like the idea is that you're colonizing frontier colonies, and it's dystopian in a lot of ways because out here on these colonies, they're all corporately and privately owned, and you're kind of seeing a world where corporations have been the government and they can separate by planets. So you essentially have people who are lived and worked on a planet that's been owned by a company. And so there's a nationalism to corporations where they're like, on the first planet, we're the Spacer's Choice family.
Sort of like Borderlands is, where you have particular planets that belong to corporations, to arms corporations.
True, but in Borderlands, you don't see as much as that because you are kind of on the border of the planets where you're like, they're all fighting over the same thing. But like in 3, I guess you see more of that. But
this reminds me so much of Fallout. It's kind of crazy.
Well, it's because Obsidian made the Fallout games, and then Bethesda bought them, and they made 3. They made
Didn't
and
Obsidian
then-
make New Vegas?
yeah, and then Obsidian made New
Okay.
Vegas. And in my opinion, New Vegas had more nuance than 3, whereas 3 was just larger and had a more massive environment. And I think Bethesda does do environmental storytelling well, but I think Obsidian does just storytelling well, like better, like character storytelling. And that kind of comes through here. So whatever your personal politics of it are, like, you kind of live in this world where people are dependent on these corporations. So even if they're acting like slaves or brainwashed, you can't just tear down the system because they have no other options.
Right.
So what choices do you make when, you see people getting abused and corporations like, yeah, we're not going to give you medical care because you're not a good enough worker. And then you get offered a different solution, but you know that if you do it, not everyone's going to be welcome, and a lot of people will be left to their own devices and are forced to survive on their own. What decisions do you make? And I like that. There's a grayness to it where you have to take into account these people that, these corporations are the only people that these people can rely on.
Right.
It's fucked up. It's horrible, but I like it.
Yeah, it looks cool, and this might very well get me out of Crusader Kings.
It's like I said, it's single
what's
player.
saying then that it's also free on Game Pass.
Oh,
So,
it is. Nice.
yeah.
Well, that might be a good way to play it, Edie. So, definitely a lot of fun. I've always enjoyed the Fallout games, and instead of they have a VAT system sorta
Mhm.
in Fallout. They invented the VAT system because aiming sucked.
Right.
The engine was not designed to aim. In this, you have been in stasis so long, you can kind of slow down time. So when you're in a gunfight, you can kind of take a chance to survey the situation and carefully aim. And it helps people who aren't really great at FPSs.
Oh, completely unrelated, kind of going back to Crusader Kings. The one thing that might get me into sticking around it a little bit longer, and it does something that I feel an obligation to experience, is there is a multiplayer.
For Crusader Kings?
You can do multiplayer. We could all go onto the same map, and then all be Vikings.
Yeah,
and then all go
great.
take over England and the rest of the world together.
But I do like, Edie, how you haven't even quit yet. You're all like, I'm going to quit, and then you're like,
but I could drag you in on it.
But if you join me,
then I really will quit right after that. Then there's nothing to bring me back. But there is that part of me that's like a particular night where we could just get together and just, be Mongols and just take over the world.
And
try not to kill each other.
Crusaders Kings 3 is free on Game Pass as well.
Yeah,
PC.
yeah, the PC Game Pass. Yeah.
Yep. All right. So anyway, you were saying Outer Worlds.
Yeah, no, man, that's pretty much where I'm at. I've gotten out of the first in the video we're seeing them in a particular planet, the first one you land on, and it has that kind of charm to it where you land and there's a person who you're supposed to meet who's placing a beacon, and you're supposed to get together with him, and he's kind of this bounty hunter that's working with the crazy scientists, but your drop pod smashes them. It smushes them. And he's like, that dumbass, I told him not to be there. I told him to put it down and leave, not hold it. And when you take over his ship, the AI is like, I can only listen. You tell him that the person's name's Alex Hawthorne is dead. I'm oh no, let me think about this. Well, I can only take orders from Alex Hawthorne, so that must mean you're Alex Hawthorne, right? And you can be like, no, I'm not Alex Hawthorne. Haha, you mean when you stepped out of the ship, you were reborn, and you came back. I see what you're saying, Alex Hawthorne. Wink.
I like that idea of an AI that's, oh, there are these rules, but fuck it, they're so inconvenient.
Well, yeah, like your captain's dead. You can listen to your captain. I mean, you're the captain now, right? If I just
Yeah.
call you by the captain's name, you're the captain.
Right.
You gather companions. You see their story, and just like that's where I'm at right now, and it's fun. The first town you went into, you kind of get the option between this small group of deserters from the town who have started their own like little life, but they have a little botanical garden that they use to grow stuff, and the main town, which has the majority of the population. And you're asked to essentially divert power from one to the other so that you can take their power core and go power your ship. And the question becomes, well, do you want these people to continue suffering in a town that is unsustainable by all accounts? Because they're having a plague issue, and you kind of learn that it's kind of like scurvy, that they're not getting a balanced diet, or that they're not getting resources from their corporation, and they are struggling. And if they keep going, if you bring these people back, because their goal is by turning off the botanical garden, you'll get those people to come back to the main town and be workers again. Even if you do that, they will still have a problem with the plague, and they will still not be getting resources to self-sustain, but it will last longer. So do you doom the people in town right now so that other people can live and actually have a chance at a life? Or do you try to save the most people possible? Short term.
Yeah.
And that's the first moral dilemma that you kind of have to deal with.
Which is kind of, what all these games are at their core, is kind of forcing you into these moral dilemmas. These type of RPGs.
There are some that do it well, like I think New Vegas and this one do it well, but I sometimes feel like the Bethesda games, when they offer choices like this, it's essentially, hey, do you want to kill these people so we can have the land and take the money and you get paid more? Or do you want to help the people and not get paid as much?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I end up feeling like most with Bethesda Fallout games, is the issue. Whereas I think Obsidian does better nuance, less black and white.
Dang, that's good. That's cool. I've been meaning to check this out.
Yeah, I mean, it was recently on sale for 50% off. So if you wait, I'm sure that'll come back around again. But if you like those kind of games, I recommend picking it up.
Yeah. So what else have you been playing?
So that's mostly more Monster Hunter. I picked it up again on PC. Like I had already played it on PC, but I picked up Iceborne, and I've been going through that. My God, you cannot skip cutscenes. And you cannot have people join you till after you see a cutscene with a monster. And it is so frustrating. It drives me nuts. Like,
is it like the issue with GTA Online at first, where you had to go through like a 2-hour tutorial thing before you could actually get to the online?
Like, do you have to... It's not 2 hours, but it's like 30 minutes when you first start.
Okay.
But it's each mission you go into, and then if you're looking for a monster, you have to go hunt down that monster spawn. You get a cutscene, and then you can call people in, or they can join if they're waiting. And that is just so frustrating as a bar of entry for when you're trying to play with your friends and just get stuff done. Because you can't. You can also not skip those cutscenes.
I've heard that the whole multiplayer management is kind of a pain.
Once you get past that with the main cutscenes, like optional quests, there's a guiding lands, which is kind of this open world map where you just kill things as they come and kind of turn in. There are options, but that initial playthrough is a pain in the ass. Because you can't just have 4 people join with you and go find the monster and have the cutscene then. Skip it. But you actually have to wait for that one person to get stuff done while you're just standing around. And that sucks. But
sorry.
Everyone's played that. Oh no. It's happening again, guys. All alone. something I wanted to mention whenever they come back, and I'm just going to let this play because Edie's the one who set this up. There is a game that came out called It Takes Two. And if you have some friends and you want to...
In the interest of not leaving you, I'll clean up the mess later, but there is a mess I've got to get to. Okay, good. Edie's here. I can go clean it up.
What happened?
I think the cat made a mess.
All right. So what are we talking about now?
It Takes Two. It's not a game I've played yet, but it's a game I'm going to play soon.
You didn't tell me about this. It Takes Two.
Hey, this was not the one fuck I could give. Okay, that's my fault.
All right, point well taken.
Right. It Takes Two is from the developers who made A Way Out. And their whole shtick as a developing company is they make co-op games.
Right.
But yeah, it's not your typical, like, you play with another person and you go through, like, a single-player story or kind of a game that even has a single-player story. Right. That's the whole point. It is a co-op game through and through from the ground up. And this is one I plan to play hopefully in the next week or two. And it came out and it looks a lot of fun. Like a lot of fun. The story is you have this kid whose parents are going through either a fight or divorce. I don't know yet. And you go through I'm imagining you play as her dolls and she kind of imagines them as her parents. Mm-hmm. And I think this world is essentially her imagination as you play through these parents' story and kind of how a kid processes this and their like romantic relationship when they're on the rocks. And you kind of experience the parents' relationships through this lens. And it's meant to be cute, not necessarily for kids, but
well, much like a Pixar movie that it's like, yeah, I mean, kids could probably enjoy it, but it's really for adults.
Yeah. And this A Way Out, which was about two people doing a prison break, was fun, but it was kind of boring because it was essentially the real world. And you can only do so much, even in a co-op game, with that kind of idea. Mm-hmm. Like you could do a plan and you each had a part of that plan to do. But the games ended up being kind of linear and kind of set pieces that you work together to complete. Mm-hmm. Where this one looks more like a puzzle platformer with heavy focus on co-op mechanics, like a Portal.
Right.
Which I think is a better genre for this.
I'm watching this. It's like you have to tell the other person what button to hit.
Yes.
It requires communication. Like you're going down this slide and you got to go, mouse. Now, girl. Oh, horse.
Yeah. And I think this is a better platform to experience that co-op gameplay. And so I'm looking forward to it. And I have a friend I'm going to play with.
And you don't have any betrayal at the end. Like when Nick and I played, what was that one that we played? A Way Out?
Way Out.
Horse. Yeah. Then the next one is going to be pig. No, mouse.
Yeah.
Cow. Pig.
Yeah. So what's nice is just like just like with A Way Out, they're going to offer a co-op pass. So if one person buys the game, the other person could download the free co-op pass to play.
Right. Good.
You can't play it single player.
Right. That's smart. I mean, it makes people want to play it as opposed to feel like the company is ripping you off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, I plan to play that, and hopefully in the next week or two I can give you a good...
You can play it with?
I have a friend, her name's Suko, and we're going to run through that.
Cool.
Hopefully. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got for games.
All right. Nick?
Okay. I finished 13 Sentinels, and just like brief update on final thoughts. There's a final twist in the story that feels like it's dangerously close to jumping off the tracks. But because by that point, I've played for 50 hours or so, and I'm invested in the characters and their relationships and their goals, their wants and desires, that they ground everything. That their reaction to this final twist is like, oh, okay, I want to see what they do. How do they handle this? And so it's just an interesting example of like, if you go a little too far, as long as you got the audience invested in these characters, they can bring it back down and keep it on track. And yeah,
That's interesting because I've spent some time like watching some lectures by an author that I enjoy. His name's Brandon Sanderson.
Brandon Sanderson. Oh my
Yeah.
god, you're such a Brandon Sanderson
I am. He
fangirl.
makes
Holy
he makes
crap!
the books I like. So he's also a creative arts teacher, and he hosts. He actually teaches a class on this stuff.
Mhm.
And he's mentioned that you can do crazy stuff if you've earned it, like as a writer.
yes,
And that's what this
Yes.
sounds like. Like over the last 50 hours, you've earned the ability to do crazy stuff. Like you set up that idea.
yeah. Because, like I said before, the whole game is about like just throwing one sci-fi trope at you after another, and it works because for the most part they're contained in these individual 13 stories, and then finally there's like this other. They throw one final twist that affects everybody, one final trope that affects everybody, and just you're kind of invested in the story, in the world, and also by that point it's like, well, you know what? This dude was stuck in a time loop. This person's doing this other thing. Fuck it. I'll go with it.
Mhm.
I believe you.
You're on board. You can suspend your disbelief.
Exactly. So yeah, that game's great. I love it. It ended well. I'm happy with all the time I spent in it.
Okay.
The same, unfortunately, cannot be said for Action. Last week,
Yeah,
I was
you went diametrically opposed to what you thought. You originally thought Ashen was great, and then you're like,
Yes.
"Fuck Ashen!"
Your
They make you
graph
go
has
through this
been like
horrible dungeon.
It went
It was
up.
whiplash.
It was up, and then down, and like, okay, I'm gonna keep playing this to see if it redeems itself, and it didn't. And all part of that is when one of these games, when any game, I think, kind of loses you, like loses that sense of fairness, you can't really get it
Well,
back.
that's that case of you have to put goodwill into the bank of your players by not
Yes.
abusing them, so that you can cash that bank account back out at the end, much like Brandon Sanderson said.
And so after that frustrating dungeon, I got to the point where every little thing, I was just like, oh, of course this game would do that. Fuck you. And it's things like, oh, this guy came out from behind a wall and got me in the back. It's like that's a trope for these type of games. It happens. But I'm just like, oh, of course this game would do that. Fuck you, Ashen. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, come on, you're being unfair. All these games do that. Like, cut it some more slack. And I did for a good long time. And eventually I got to a point where I stopped playing, not out of frustration, but more out of not boredom, but just like I don't feel like it's gonna get better. And so what frustrated me after that dungeon is that I kind of kept seeing instances where it felt like two different designers were butting their heads while making the game. So one of the things that really frustrated me, and I mentioned this before, the levels are like labyrinths. And part of that is really interesting. Like with some Souls games, you enter an area, you explore it, and then you kind of find a shortcut that links back. And it's like, oh, it kind of looped around on itself. This doesn't do that. This is more like you're going to go up here and then go around, and there's two paths and it twists. And it's just like all these dozens upon dozens of paths through a level that just kind of wind and twist and turn around and around and around that make it confusing to explore and easy to get lost. But more than that, it takes time. It takes time to explore every nook and cranny. And the game kind of rewards you for doing that by putting a lot of items in those nooks and crannies. It wants you to take time to explore. But at the same time, it does something that these Souls-like games never do, which is enemies respawn.
Oh.
Normally, enemies only respawn when you rest at a bonfire or the bonfire equivalent. That's kind of the push and pull of these type of games is, oh, I only have 1 health flask left and I'm at half health, but I've defeated all the enemies in this area, so I know I'm safe. Do I push forward into the unknown, or do I run back, bank all my experience points and stuff, get my health back, but I got to fight my way here again. But at least I know what to do. That's the push and pull. But in this one, I spent a lot of time exploring, and then I thought, oh, you know what? I'm on my last flask. I don't want to go forward. I'm going to go back and reset things. As I'm running back, I encounter a whole bunch of enemies that I'd already killed. And I know I already killed them because the way the level is set up is it's like this valley that's like a gauntlet with a bunch of spear throwers on top throwing stuff at you. And I took time to methodically kill every single one of those spear throwers because it's a pain in the ass to go through the valley otherwise. And as soon as I turn around and get back to this place, all of those spear throwers are back. And I thought that feels really cheap. And it also feels like it conflicts with this desire of the game to have such labyrinthine levels and to encourage you to explore them, but then to respawn enemies that seem to punish you for taking too long in an area. And it just felt like this conflict that the game doesn't really resolve. And I was also frustrated as I got further and further. I could upgrade my weapon like more and more and more. I could make it stronger and stronger. And you can't grind out experience points, so you can't increase your health or stamina things, but you can get a better weapon. And so I spent a lot of time grinding out supplies to make the weapon stronger and stronger. But for some reason, you can't do the same for armor. And so even towards the end of the game that I got to, I was still getting into instances where a guy would kill me in 1 hit. And I thought, that's just really, really frustrating to have this system of upgrades for one set of equipment, but not for the other. It just kind of feels half finished or half realized. Like why weapons but not armor? It doesn't necessarily make sense. And so, yeah, I just it feels like it starts off with a lot of promise, but then it keeps undercutting a lot of the more interesting ideas it has with badly designed levels, frustrating AI, mechanics that feel half realized or half implemented, to the point where I ended up stopping because, like I said before, I just didn't feel like it was getting any better. I just thought, I've seen what the game has to offer, and it keeps offering up new reasons not to play instead of new reasons to keep playing. So
Right.
eventually
Sounds like a classic case of you just stopped having fun.
Yeah. And eventually I got to the point when I thought, I have played it enough to know why I don't like it. And I'm not getting any new interesting criticism out of it. Sometimes playing a bad game is fun because it's bad in interesting ways, and breaking down why it's bad is an interesting criticism. But I've kind of felt like I wrung all of that juice out of this, all of this blood out of that stone, and it's like, well, there's no reason trying to beat it because I'm not going to have anything more to say about it. So that's Ashen. Then I played the Bradwell Conspiracy, which is a Portal-esque puzzle game in that, first-person puzzle game where you go around an environment and kind of solve puzzles. It starts off with an interesting premise. It's like this cavern was discovered under Stonehenge, and this private company went in and sort of, reinforced it because Stonehenge was about to collapse into this cavern. They went in, reinforced everything, and created this big Bradwell Stonehenge museum next to the monument. And you wake up after a bombing. There was a bombing during this gala at the museum, seemingly an attempt to kill one of the members of the Bradwell family. And you then have to the museum goes into lockdown, and you have to find out a way to get through it. And very quickly, you find out that the Bradwells had invented this new type of material that they call Bradwellium. that basically is
Brad William.
Brad William. Yes. Well, no, they call it Brad William. But they also call it just substance. It's just substance. But they also mention Brad William. The important thing is this is a material that can kind of be constructed and reconstructed in an instant. And it basically allows for instant 3D printing. And so you run around with this portable 3D printer, and the puzzles involve you copying items as blueprints into this 3D printer and using any Brad William you find to make copies of different items in order to progress. So it's like, oh, I need to get this key. Let me look around, find like a version of this key that I can make a blueprint of, find some substance that I can then use to make this item, and then go to the door, make the key, and get through it. Kind of an interesting premise. But what ends up happening is most of the time you just use it to create bridges. It's just, oh, there's a gap. Well, I'm going to find, I don't know, a blueprint of a 2x4, and I'm just going to copy 3 2x4s over this gap and walk over it. And like most of the puzzles feel like, oh, I'm making another bridge. Oh, fuck, I'm making another bridge. Oh, I'm making a bridge out of like doors instead of 2x4s. Whoop-de-fucking-do, I'm still making a bridge. And even before that, the process of puzzle solving gets really tedious because you'll enter a new area and your Brad William and blueprints kind of get reset with each level. So you've got to re-find everything. And that means, well, I'm going to wander around this area, look for things that I can copy, look for substance that I can use, and then maybe I can start trying to figure out what I have to do in this level. And it's like, okay, this is just kind of tedious. Like, okay, go find thing A, go find thing B, and then start going through the process of puzzle solving. And it's just kind of, it's tedious rather than interesting. And then the puzzle solutions aren't even that interesting. The story, in the beginning, they make all this big deal about, had this cavern under Stonehenge, and Stonehenge never comes up again. It's like, oh, there's this you name a game, the Brattle Conspiracy, set it in like this ancient location. It's like, okay, what like Da Vinci Code Uncharted-esque conspiracies are you going to uncover? It's nothing like that. There's no reason why it had to be near Stonehenge. It has absolutely no bearing at all on the rest of the story. It's like, oh, okay, that's kind of dumb. And then ultimately the conspiracy, kind of spoilers, it ends up being about mass surveillance. And I don't know, I'm just at a point where it's like, oh, really? It's like, oh, it's mass surveillance? Yeah, we live in this dystopia. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Come up with something new. And they do. It's like, oh, it's a new type of mass surveillance. It's even more invasive. You'll lose even more of your privacy. But I still feel like Facebook exists. We're through that looking glass. We've crossed that threshold line. Like any story about the horrors of mass surveillance just kind of feels naive. So that didn't work for me. And then the game is just glitchy as fuck. There were multiple instances where I am supposed to interact with this thing and it wasn't working. So I'd reload a checkpoint and, oh, okay, now it works. Yep. Sometimes there's a woman on the phone, like in your ear, that you're talking to, who's kind of helping you solve puzzles. And there's an interesting mechanic where you can press R1 to take pictures of things, and she'll comment on that. At one point, I took a picture of something, and it appeared in the upper right of the screen, and just kind of got stuck there. And she didn't comment on it. And every time I took a new picture, that picture would get replaced, but she wouldn't comment on it. And I needed her to comment on it because I needed to take a picture of something and say, hey, look, there's a locked door. Open this door. But I kept taking a picture of the door, and she wouldn't comment anything. So I'm like, okay, fuck. Reload the save. Okay, now I take a picture, and it works. And it got all the way up to what I think is the final puzzle of the game, which is, of all things, just like a laser mirror puzzle. Has nothing to do with a 3D printer. it's just like, hey, here's a laser, put some mirrors in place to like change the direction. And I thought, that's a really kind of uncreative way, an uncreative final puzzle, considering like you created this 3D printing mechanic, and the best thing you can do to come up with it is, hey, print some mirrors to change a laser. Like, that's kind of lame. But I had to get the laser to hit this thing and get reflected straight up. That was the thing. It's like, okay, maneuver these mirrors so that the laser goes boom, 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 hits something and goes straight up. I set everything right, but every time the laser hit that mirror, it wouldn't go straight up. It would go off at like a 45-degree angle. I looked through multiple YouTube walkthroughs, and every single one of them set the mirrors up just like I did, and they went boom, 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 straight up. I did the exact same thing, boom, 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 45-degree angle. I'm like, you motherfuckers. Why? Why is this not working? And I spent a good fucking hour like analyzing these videos going, okay, I'm going to line it up with this rock so that, okay, they set this mirror at exactly this location. And I'm like using the background to see exactly where they set it. And I'm trying to copy that. And it just doesn't work. I reset multiple times. It doesn't work. And so eventually I just stopped playing because I literally could not continue because the fucking laser kept going off at the wrong angle. And at this point, I don't think I'm doing something wrong. I think the game is glitching out because it happened at least a dozen times throughout my playing of it.
Did you ever look up if other people had that problem?
Yeah, and I couldn't find anything specific about that. So I don't know. But at that point, the
I think you're
story
doing
was
something
dumb.
wrong.
The story was dumb. The mechanics were dumb. I kept getting multiple glitches throughout the game. Like I said, I had to restart from checkpoint at least a dozen times. And at that point, I was like, fuck this game.
I forget where I heard it, but there was like a saying that like when you're making a puzzle game, the marks of a good puzzle game is you learn a mechanic and then you build upon it and you keep building upon it. You keep using those mechanics that you've built on. So instead of like just, all right, here's a new mechanic and that's what this whole puzzle's about, it's here's a new mechanic plus all of the other things that we've shown you, figure it out. And like that's what makes a puzzle game rewarding, is learning like new things and using them over and over again.
Yeah.
And it sounds like this game just doesn't do that. Like,
no, it not only does not have good puzzles, doesn't have a good story, doesn't have interesting
broken
levels, also fundamentally broken. But playing games like Ashen and the Bradwell Conspiracy, I feel like is kind of a valuable experience because it makes me appreciate games like Gris all the more. Because after playing Gris,
nice segue, by the way. That
I
was
realized this is how you make a game. This is just like game design at its most elegant and graceful and beautiful. And there's moments in Gris where, it's a platformer, kind of a puzzle platformer. Where like you fall from a cliff and you land and you can go left or right. Where you gonna go? And it's like, oh, after playing games like Ashen and Bradwell, where I'm like, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do. I don't know what the game wants me to do. At a certain point, after a couple hours of Gris, I realized, oh, I could go left or right. It doesn't matter. If it's like the right direction, I'll just keep going. If it's the wrong direction, I'll just hit some sort of, roadblock and go the other way. And so it got to a point where I just jump off a cliff and land, and I'm just like, I'm going to go left because fuck it. And I just go left, and I just play. It's not that I turned my brain off. It's that the game was able to evoke like a sense of trust. A trust in its design that it knew what it was doing, that I'm just going to go off in this direction, and I'm going to encounter the next puzzle, the next platforming challenge, because that's the only direction to go, because it knows what it's doing, and it works. So not only is it just like it's the kind of game that's designed so well it makes it look easy. And that's why I think it's nice to play something bad every once in a while, because you realize, like, Ashen and Bradwell, they have all these menus, they have maps, they have overlays, they have objectives, they have all these like meta UI elements that are supposed to tell you where to go. And I still was frustrated at a lot of points because I didn't know where to go. Even with all those extra elements, I thought, I don't know what they're telling me. I don't know what you want me to do. Gris has none of that, but I still never felt confused about where to go. At every point, I just knew I'm just going to go off in a direction, and I'm going to trust the game to, show me the way. And it did. And so beyond that elegant just design, it's a very pleasant puzzle platformer. And it's not so much about the challenge of platforming. I felt a lot like playing Journey while playing this. I think it might be the best Journey-like game since Journey. Because there's a very similar sense of fantasy to it. There's a certain chase scene that happens like halfway through that's kind of absurd on its face, but at that point I'm so into like the mood and the atmosphere and kind of the emotional stakes of the game that like I'm in it, and it feels really dramatic and powerful. And it helps that the art is just shockingly good. It starts kind of monochrome, and then as you go through, you add different colors. You add red, you add green, you add blue, and with each color kind of comes a new element for the environment. Like green, suddenly trees have leaves, and so all of a sudden you can jump on the leaves of the trees like you're doing in this video. Blue introduces water, and so all of a sudden there's water in the world, and you can interact with that. And each color kind of adds a new element to the world, and it goes on for much longer than you think, and the environment changes so drastically that it really feels like it takes advantage of its fantastical art to like get really, really beautiful, really, really weird and wild and interesting. Like I wanted to keep playing just so that I could kind of see what new environment came next, because it's always fascinating, it's always unique, and it's always like, beautiful in different ways. And there's not much to the story. It's kind of like a one big metaphor. It begins with, this woman singing and a statue breaking, and the game is kind of like you trying to get your voice back and reconstruct the statue. And it's like, okay, it's metaphor. There's no like strict plot or character or things like that. But like Journey, which also didn't really have much of a plot, you just kind of get into the emotions through the art, through the music, through the mechanics, and just the act of exploring, the act of kind of fighting your way through some bosses and things like that. You just get into it. Yeah, beautiful game in its art, in its music, in its the simplicity of its controls, the design of it. Everything about Gris I thought was just really fantastic.
Watching this video, like we were introduced to, I'm guessing, a boss with that bird, and there's this weird like ink. It's sort of like an ink monster, and then it breaks up to smaller birds and it reforms into a giant bird, and that looks gorgeous to me. Like the animations for the bird looks amazing, so I can kind of see where you're coming from and what you're saying just off of this one scene that I'm seeing.
Yeah, and that bird takes different forms, and that kind of like almost flowing watery style is in a lot of things. Like it's hard to see here, but the character has this really long cloak dress on, and the way that it flows behind her as she moves is really hypnotizing to watch, especially in the beginning when the camera is pulled in really close to her. Yeah, a lot of the movement, a lot of the animation is just pretty to watch. There's a time like I spent maybe 5 minutes or so jumping into and out of water just because I thought, oh wow, the splash effect is really nice. I want to see more of that.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. I'm hypnotized by it.
Yeah, and yeah, it's fun. At no point does it feel like I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. It just everything about it kind of flows naturally. Yeah, I think especially if you like Journey, check out Gris because,
Yeah,
like I
I
said,
love Journey.
it's hard for me to put my finger on exactly what it is about them that feels so similar, but it's kind of part of it is like that Journey-esque because the statue breaks and you kind of go on this journey to find ways to reform it and going through different environments. It's a platformer in the way that Journey is, where it's not necessarily meant to be challenging. It's more about just the mood and the atmosphere and the act of moving through the world.
So tone, I'd say probably.
Yeah,
Like just that tone of the game feels a lot alike.
yeah, yeah,
The
So
oeuvre.
I just want to make
Yeah.
a point though that earlier you've made the argument that you must suffer to find happiness. You must
Not
play
necessarily.
bad games so you can enjoy the good ones.
I mean, yeah, it is worth playing something bad so that you recognize not just that something is good, but how it's good. Like there's always the criticism of like, oh, GameSpot 7 out of 10 is a bad game, and it's like, well, that's because GameSpot generally reviews, AAA well-known games, and most of those are like, yeah, they're well designed. Most of them are not going to play the 1 out of 10 games because no one gives a shit about those. But Steam is overrun with 1 out of 10 games. And sometimes it's good to play, maybe not 1 out of 10, 5 out of 10. Something that's like, oh, this just doesn't work. But why doesn't it work?
Yep.
And then you play something like Chris and you're like, this is good level design. Holy shit, I forgot this existed.
I just want to point out, like, completely unrelated, just GameSpot and GameStop. Like, I hate that those are two things that are so similar.
I always get it confused. I always think I get it wrong.
That's all.
Well, like Phil Spencer and Phil Spector.
Yes.
One is a game head, the other one is a murderer.
Is there a difference?
Actually, yeah.
Spectre is the killer, right? Spencer works for Microsoft.
Spectre is the killer, right?
Okay, good. Okay.
Is the billionaire killer. Yes. And Spencer is the game head.
All right.
At least I think.
He just hasn't been caught yet.
Oh, that's so messed up.
He has a lot of skeletons in his closet.
Any other games you want to talk about?
No, that's all I played.
All right. So
Thank
shall we
you.
hit
Whew.
the news?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Then let me get back to where banners. Let's hit wait, where's the banners? And let's hit the news. Oop, wait. There we go. This is the GameHounds news. The news uses the commentary of the week in gaming with Gamer Edie, Nick DiNicola, and Andrew Smith. And our first item is
I love to hear my own voice, so I'll go first.
okay.
Counter-Strike has apparently a match-fixing problem. And it's so bad the FBI is getting involved. Before I get into this, I just want to call out that Blood Reaper is the one responsible for finding this, and he posted in chat, so just want to give a good shout-out to him. But having read the article, apparently in Australia, there is been a lot of crackdown on a lot of the competitive gaming scene, and there's been a lot of match fixing over there. And because there's been so much, it's kind of brought questions over to America. And apparently FBI is looking into match fixing. So there is a person, his name is, let me make sure I get this right, Ian Smith, who is the commissioner of the Esports Integrity Commission. And he was recently in an interview with a YouTuber called Slash32. They were talking about match fixing and kind of how prevalent it is. So it is by a small group of people, but they're prevalent in the community. And unlike just, one person like throwing a match so that they can make some money, it has more ties to like organized crime where other people will bribe
really?
players to organizations will bribe players to fix these matches on their behalf so they can make money. And this is becoming an increasing big problem.
The
Are people
scene
betting
in
on
any
them, and
gangster
that's how they make the
movie?
money?
Is this
I
like
think
seeing a movie with guys like talking to a boxer and it's like, okay, you go down in the third round, right? You do
Essentially,
this
yeah.
and you're good.
Basically, outside groups will go to these people and, hey, if you lose, and whether or not you can bet like based on the matches or not, you lose and we get a cut of that money and we'll pay you for that loss. So it's not just people throwing for their own self gain that they've bet on their match. It's actually a group of people, an organization of people setting this up. So, which is why the FBI is getting involved. And apparently the FBI has recently started a sports unit, a sports fraud unit that's new. They're relatively inexperienced, but they're working, and this is kind of getting folded into that sports betting because apparently sports betting has been getting super popular as of late, like more so than before, and that rigging is getting more popular than before. I think this is interesting. I didn't realize it was such a problem or that it was bigger than like individual people making these bets.
Yeah.
So we'll end up seeing what happens. I think this is still in the investigation phase. But I think it has big ramifications for esports in general. Because there's money to be made here. And there will always be people willing to screw over other people to make that money.
Right. Right. Be interesting to see the first person who goes to prison for conspiracy and match fixing for a video game. I don't think anybody has gone to prison for that. If the FBI is looking, it means that there is federal crime. I mean, it is gambling and very much a RICO Act conspiracy kind of thing. So yeah, it'd be very interesting to see who goes to prison for this, and it will be super interesting the day it happened. But if they're looking, it means that it's happening. We know that it's happening. It's always been happening, but now there's money behind it. Yeah, that's what happens when you mix low morals and money. That's when things, I don't say low morals, but like low ethics and money.
The biggest problem is that betting on sports hasn't really been done a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously there's individuals making bets and such, but like large term betting, since esports is typically so new and it hasn't been looked upon,
right?
It hasn't been a problem, so it hasn't brought a lot of attention or regulators or anything like that to that scene.
The day has come.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised actually it took this long. Are these bets taken at like normal off book, off track betting locations? Because I mean, I know in Europe you can bet on anything in Europe, but like places like, Harrah's and Caesars.
I see how I imagine this. I don't have any proof of this, but the way game communities are set up, you would, if you were an organization looking to get in on this, you would send somebody out to those communities to start that up. So like if you have a sporting event at a location, you'd send a few people out there to basically be like those bookies or those, I don't know what they're called, but the people who take the bets and hold on to it. Or if it's something
Odds
online,
makers.
You would either start a Discord community, for instance, where you're like, hey, if you want to make bets, this is where you come, and you'll talk to the moderators. I mean, there's no protections here. If someone did this and they took your money, that'd be one thing. But I imagine this would be a trust-based system where that they are good for their bets, essentially.
Right.
Or they would go to those esports communities and they would start polling people looking to bet or anything like that. Does that make sense?
Yep, it does. And AC Wraith made a good point. This is one of those weird stories that makes you hate the date it was released on, because I guess the date that this article came out was yep, April 1st. It's not a joke. It really is happening.
Yeah, okay. I didn't even realize that this came out on April 1st. Ah, shit. Yes, it is real, because like I was mentioning, there's a big push into this in Australia where it's a bigger problem currently.
And Australians do not fuck around. They're way more efficient at like taking care of business. New Zealand even more so, but Australia, yeah, Australia has a long-term hate on video games. They just hate them. There's their political establishment absolutely fucking hates video games, and they are not afraid of them. So, next item.
Okay. In another like
what?
Okay.
I just want to let you know that apparently there will be more information, and apparently the next 10 days to 2 weeks.
Oh. Okay.
Either on the Australian scandal or on this one in particular, but we should be getting more news soon. That's all.
Which means they're closing in.
But anyways, continue.
Which means an arrest soon.
Yeah. In other technical news, this isn't directly related to games, but I saw this article on Monday, and I kept it because we had talked about NFTs, non-fungible tokens, a week ago or a couple weeks ago.
Right.
And so this article on Vice is titled "People's Expensive NFTs Keep Vanishing. This is Why." And it sort of goes into a lot of the technical explanations of how NFTs work. And reading it, I was boggled that people would spend money on this thing because this thing is so unreliable. So basically, what the article goes on to explain is that the NFT, it's a certificate, but that's all it is. You're just buying a certificate. You're not necessarily buying the art itself. So on the blockchain, there is no JPEG like associated on the blockchain. All you're doing is buying the certificate of authenticity, but not the actual work. So that means that the way the NFT works is that it is, and let me see if I can get this right. You're kind of minting a new cryptographic signature that, when it is decoded, points to an image hosted elsewhere. This could be a regular website, it could be a file system, or it could be a peer-to-peer storage system. So the thing is, you're buying a link. The NFT is really just a certified link. If that link points to a normal website, if that website removes the image, your expensive NFT link will just 404 error out because the thing it is pointing to no longer exists. If it is elsewhere, though, you still encounter that problem because there's a museum called OpenSea, and it's basically like a platform that people can use to look at their NFT art. And one of the people in charge of it describes it as a gallery. OpenSea is a gallery where your NFT is hanging. And OpenSea, basically, your art is not hosted in the gallery. Your gallery just has a bunch of windows. And you can look through that window at your art. But OpenSea, these galleries, could close that window for whatever reason. And your NFT will just, again, hit a 404 error. And so why a lot of people's NFTs are disappearing is because they run into a lot of super technical issues with the type of NFT. So generally, NFTs are represented by a token called ERC-721. It's just like in the Ethereum marketplace, it's like a pointer. And there are other tokens like ERC-20. OpenSea started experimenting with a new token called ERC-1155. And because of that, people who bought NFTs that were like associated with the previous tokens, they're not being recognized by OpenSea because OpenSea is like experimenting with this new token. So it's basically like the gallery is saying we will only accept windows of this size. And so if you buy an NFT that's of a different window size, OpenSea will not allow you to look at your work. Now you could go to other galleries, other like, file systems, and because your NFT, your certificate link of authority is still valid on the blockchain, they can see it and recognize it, but it's up to each individual gallery to decide whether they will recognize your thing or not. So it's very possible that a gallery a site for whatever reason could just decide not to display the artwork that you paid $100 or thousands of dollars for. Or like I said before, since it's just a link, if it posts to a normal website, if that website removes the image, then your link points to nowhere. And so it's this isn't so much an issue for things like NBA Top Shots, where it is a hub. All of this stuff is centralized around like the NBA. So all of the NFT, all the artwork that you trade and buy through NFT Top Shots is like contained in that website, in that ecosystem. But if you go outside that ecosystem and you start like buying, I spent $100 on an NFT for this Elon Musk tweet, there's every possibility that if Elon Musk deletes that tweet, your expensive NFT is just going to 404 error out and not actually point anywhere. And it makes
so it doesn't really, and that's how it is. It doesn't really belong to you. It really ultimately belongs in the company that is hosting the the coding.
Yeah, because you're not buying any sort of work. You're not buying work. You're not buying art.
It's non-fungible by definition.
No, you're buying like a completely separate certificate of authenticity, but it's like not actually associated with the work. Like there's no necessary link between the two.
Like I mentioned last time we talked about this, and like the YouTuber I mentioned about wanting, like, if you have a membership and someone who's been a part of it for a year and then you get that token, like that's a more reasonable, like, a part of that is the fact that it's centralized too, where like if it's based off of one person giving it out and it's based directly on their content, that's easier to hold on to and like they can keep records of it. But something like this where, anyone can make an art gallery program. Like anyone could make this web page and sell art on it. It's less secure, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's just like the wild, wild west nature of this stuff is way more wilder and risky than people may have thought. Like the NFT, like I said, at its core, it's just a link. And it doesn't actually mean that you own anything important. That link can get, like any other internet links do, can point to a wrong direction for one reason or another. Maybe someone doesn't recognize it. Maybe the source gets removed. But all you have is an expensive link. You don't actually have any artwork or any tweet, any meaningful thing.
I did see that, like, there was a story about the OpenSea and one person like buying several $100,000 of stuff. The number may be wrong there, but it was like a substantial amount of money in OpenSea, and all of his artwork was gone because they had lost it.
Yeah,
and
that's the thing. I don't think they lost it. It's that they don't recognize the Ethereum token that is associated with his NFT. So he may have bought it on OpenSea, but I guess OpenSea won't allow him to view it. He'll have to go to another gallery to view it.
One of the things, though, that is the problem with this is, it's kind of like asking someone else to hold on to your money for you. Like, just, hey, here, don't like lose this. That's kind of sketchy at best. But the way he was describing how this market currently is it's just gambling. You buy something like one of these paintings with the hopes that, just like with Bitcoin, it'll skyrocket. Like, it will gain profit in the short term, and you sell it. Like, that is the majority of people in this space right now. It's just high risk gamblers.
Yes.
And there's no like you said, there's no laws. It's the Wild West right now. So people are going to lose a lot of money. People are going to get fucked hard.
And the
I do
only way for people who make money on this to make money is to have people there that lose money.
Yeah.
And
The
so
suckers.
they have a vested interest trying to convince you that this is a good idea because
Well-
they're making the money off it. It is just shy of being a pyramid scheme.
I mean,
I do like AC Wraith in the chat, and I think I heard it before. The idea of women getting sexually harassed, putting an NFT on the dick pic, so that the abusers have to spend money to remove them.
Mm-hmm. That's what, you see. That I see as a good idea, but that's
Mhm.
almost just like ransom. But if it can be
Yeah.
used as ransom, it also can be used in other nefarious ways that aren't necessarily for the betterment of society. It's
Oh
for
yeah,
Imagine
to
for
take
sure.
advantage of the situation.
imagine if you had like an ex-boyfriend, like the worst situation. Like that's good if you have somebody who's harassing you, right? But
Yeah.
if you have a vindictive person, they get a hold of your dick pic, they can do the same thing.
Well, the same thing goes for like any sort of revenge porn.
Yeah. It's kind of dumb. I mean, in the case of like a gallery, they could just make money off the commission. Basically,
Mhm.
when you buy it, they get like 5%, and then if you sell it, you get that same amount back. So they can make money some way in the same way like the Steam collectible trading card makes money, or
Mhm.
the content where you can trade like costume and stuff, where you're taking a little bit off the top of each of those transactions, and you're essentially giving yourself free money at that point.
Mhm.
Don't get into this unless you're rich and you have no worries of like your financial security
Right.
being an
Even
issue.
if you're rich, Ugh. Sorry. Kevin just took the other one dog out for a walk,
Oh,
and the puppy
no.
is upset that she was left behind.
I want to walk too.
That's it. Somebody's left the house. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, rich people don't stay rich by doing dumb shit like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
If someone, saying that like, well, if you're really rich, then, go ahead and do it, but it's kind of stupid.
They're going to invest in the stocks that they know how to manipulate.
Yeah. If
Not
I have
this
it right,
shit.
if I have a choice between NFTs or the fucking stock market, I will put it into the stock market because it actually is ownership of something fucking real and no one can take it back from me.
Yeah.
Puppy, it's all right. He'll be back. He'll be back. Mia, relax. Oh God.
Wow, she's so upset.
She's so upset. Come here. It's all right. Come over here. Come here.
Mia also doesn't like NFTs.
Mia definitely does not like it. Even
Mhm.
she knows NFTs are a bad idea, and she's a puppy. DJ Phil Collins says it's like expensive internet dibs with take backsies.
Yeah, kind of.
Absolutely true.
So yeah, I just read that article and I was kind of blown away that like, all this stuff.
Blown away.
All
It
this
was a bad idea. I think I said it was a bad idea last week when we talked about it.
No, but the like specific technical reasons why it's a bad idea, and learning like, oh wow, this is all like way more flimsy and broken than like it initially appears based on all the hype. It's like, wow, this shit is like really broken.
Yeah,
There
shit
needs
is
to be a
really dumb,
standardization.
and the only people that are going to be
Mhm.
making any money on it are the people who are convincing other people to get
Or
involved.
like the people like the NBA that's like, we're going to create this centralized system where you actually have some trust in the thing that you buy. Like they're creating their own ecosystem. You need a large organization to create its own ecosystem of NFT items for any of it to be valuable. But the moment you go out to like the wider world, that ecosystem just breaks down.
Right. Yeah.
So that's my news.
But like I
You got
said, there's
anything? Oh,
You're
there's
just
some
gonna
interesting
run back and forth and fret.
there's some interesting things here, like using digital keys to essentially transfer ownership of like memberships or certain things that are related to a community. Something that they can track and keep like you know how many people have subscribed for a year,
Mhm.
and those people get this token, you know exactly how many is out there in the world. And if someone like sells theirs, you know that doesn't change the total number of them.
Mhm.
So like that's useful if you want to make it so people can buy benefits to your content, for instance. But yeah, I mean, Wild West as far as like art and other stuff goes online. There's a use for it, I think, but maybe not great yet. Wait till it gets better.
Yeah.
All right, next item.
Oh, that's right. You don't really have anything, Heidi. All right, I'll go again.
$0 to give.
CD Projekt Red is changing how it makes games after Cyberpunk 2077. So I think most people agree 2077 was a disaster for CD Projekt Red.
If you would have gone back a year ago and told me that this would be an epic disaster that would make what was that, like Guardians, that was that horrible disaster that had tons of lawsuits. What was something Marines?
Oh,
Colonial Marines.
Colonial Marines. That CD Projekt Red would be. I'm sorry. That Cyberpunk 2077 would be the biggest disaster that would make Colonial Marines look like nothing. Like,
okay. So
I would have like said, okay, maybe it's not that great. It's like I could not have even conceived of how bad it could be.
First, like if we have the ability to go back and the only thing I tell you about is Cyberpunk and not COVID, that's a different problem.
Yeah, that's a good point. Or even, winning lotto numbers so that we could all trade it in and buy NFTs.
Yes.
You invented time travel just to tell me not to pre-order Cyberpunk? That's all you did?
I think that tells me enough, to be honest. But I mean, there's a case to be made that Cyberpunk 2077 is actually a good game. Like the people who played it, the people it worked
Right, they say that it has a lot of potential. It just was not realized.
And part of that was it was released earlier. We're with Aliens Colonial Marines. If you've looked into that story, it's fucking awful.
I played that game. That game's
but not
good.
just the game, but the story behind it. Like the person who's in charge at 2K, basically siphoning project money from that game to put into Borderlands 2 was part of the reason that game failed so hard.
Right.
Like they took resources from Aliens Colonial Marines and it got to the point that they delayed it so long and they didn't work on it. They're like, you know what, we're just going to finish it and throw it out there. It works. That's good enough. This wasn't that. This was a game that got released early and it's only comparable because of the hype it had. Like if Cyberpunk wasn't hyped as much as it was for as long as it was, it wouldn't be comparable. That being said, their way they are changing stuff is they are going to diversify their teams a bit in studio, in-house, to make multiple games at once. Because currently their model is they make everyone focused on one game using their proprietary studio, like their proprietary software and engine. But now they're going to make different divisions so you can have multiple games being made at once. And while they are going to focus still primarily on single-player RPG content, they are going to have a group of people working on multiplayer content. A much smaller group, but not insubstantial. With this comes promises to treat their employees better, that they're going to restructure how they do their work weeks, make sure there's less crunches. Everyone always says that, though. So
not only does everyone always say that, yes, Mia, they said it themselves. They said it before Cyberpunk came out. Why are we going to believe them? They literally said that exact thing.
Well,
before Cyberpunk came out, while they were crunching people.
They said they're going to switch their culture environment to focus on the well-being of the employees. And again, it could just
that's exactly what they said while they were crunching people.
The only difference is now they're getting looked at with a fine-tooth comb. If the moment that an employee steps out and they're still doing this shit, they're going to be in deeper shit than they were before.
I don't know. Can you get any deeper shit than what they're in right now?
Well, I mean, before what happened right now. Like, after this, they don't need any bad press. Like, not all not all press is good press. In this case, CD Projekt Red is in a hole, and I think they could come out of it. It depends. But
I mean,
yeah,
diversifying like their teams is a good idea because they have mainly focused on everyone into this one pool, everyone working on one game, and it works when that one game is a really big hit, like with The Witcher.
Right.
And even then, like The Witcher 2, their team was not that big, but they were a smaller team. And actually, from what I've heard, even now, like one of the flaws of Cyberpunk is that it tried to be a game as expansive as like Fallout or Red Dead, but CD Projekt is actually not as big as either of those teams. Like they're a big developer, but something like Assassin's Creed and Red Dead, those are made with multiple big studios around the world. Whereas
thousands upon thousands of people.
Yeah, whereas CD Projekt is just like, hey, we're a big studio in one location. And so, they simply cannot like make a game the size and scope of Red Dead with that same level of polish. It would take an absurd amount of time. And so I imagine this is probably a good idea because this to me says that at least someone in the higher up area has been humbled and has realized, okay, we need to actually create like maybe a more responsible development schedule where we're not our entire well-being as a company is not riding on a single game all the time.
Yeah, after 4 years of development, like we just can't do that anymore, which is good. I think that's if you want to grow as a company, you're going to have to do that.
Yeah,
and plus if they can go ahead.
I was gonna say, and hopefully, like what this means is that maybe they'll make some smaller games that are a bit more achievable in scope. Like there'll still be RPGs, but maybe they won't be the size of Cyberpunk or The Witcher 3, but there'll still be quality in the writing and the experience. Like you can make a game that's smaller than Witcher 3 and still have it be great.
Yeah, I agree, and we'll see where that goes. And hopefully, if this isn't just a puffy statement to like appease people, if there is a culture of wellness for their employees, hopefully this ends up meaning as a community we get more better games. Like, the final prong to this change is one of the biggest issues with Cyberpunk was the fact that they hyped it for so long. And I mentioned this, but their hyping of Cyberpunk began years before they had anything to show.
Before they actually were developing it.
Yeah, and they realized that that's a problem, so they're going to dial back their media, their media presence for games till they're closer to completion. And when they have something to show and they've been working on something, then they'll start a media ad campaign to hype it up instead of what we got now.
Yeah, which seems responsible.
Basically, yeah, I think somebody got humbled fucking hard.
Yeah, because a lot of what we heard about behind the scenes is like, oh, we were not going to be able to do this in time. That's okay. We made The Witcher 3. We can do it. Like that was a lot of the attitude of the managers. And it's like, well, okay, if this is what they're doing, maybe they have realized, okay, we can't just use that as an excuse. Like we're human. Yes, we made The Witcher 3. We also made Cyberpunk. So maybe let's pull back our scope a little bit.
From the makers of The Witcher in Cyberpunk.
Yeah, exactly.
Asterisk, and Cyberpunk, but we don't talk about that.
So, yeah,
I am interested as like the next game they put out, it's going to be, from the creators of The Witcher 3. And it's like, that's it. It's like, really? Did that game come out like, over a decade ago? Have you done nothing since then?
Anything since then?
Yeah, anything between
Nope.
No?
Nope.
No, yeah, no,
nope. Mm-mm.
we've been working on
And
this new game for all that time. Yep.
Yeah, no, we just took a really long vacation.
Yeah.
We
Paid
were on
vacation.
sabbatical.
Everyone was happy. All the employees loved it.
That's our story. We're sticking to it.
To be fair, though, while it is
First rule
fun,
of cyberpunk is you don't talk about cyberpunk.
it's fun to meme and joke on Cyberpunk, mainly because it was just so off the mark from what we were promised. But yeah, it's not objectively okay when it's super buggy and they're fixing that, but the bones are not objectively bad. It's not like the game can't make a recovery. Again, this is a matter of degrees where like so much hype, so much trust for the company, and such a poor management of the product while telling everyone it's fine makes like joking on the fact that like, you know, you wouldn't be proud that you made Cyberpunk, but you should be proud. These people should be proud that they made Cyberpunk. It's not that bad to like remove it from their resume and like, no, we only made Witcher 3. Don't just ignore the rest. Give Cyberpunk a couple years, and if they keep putting money behind it, we'll have something probably equal to that of The Witcher 3 again.
Well,
in a couple years.
Well,
I think an important
Blood Reaper
point
is saying
with-
Blood Reaper says, or no, was it Blood Reaper? No, AC Race says that my cousin has been playing at Cyberpunk and it's pretty much fixed now.
I guess what platform?
Yeah, that's true.
Across
It
the
all
board.
comes.
I mean, obviously not PlayStation, because PlayStation still hasn't brought it back to the store.
Right. Because you can't get it on a PlayStation because it's so buggy.
But I think an important difference with Cyberpunk and some other games like this, like Anthem, like people always point to No Man's Sky. The reason that studio stuck with No Man's Sky for so long is because that was the only game they had. Like their future as a company depended on the success of that game. So when it launched in a state that people were unhappy with, they had a very vested interest in turning things around. EA did not feel the same with Anthem. EA has a whole lot of other things, a whole lot of other baskets they can put their eggs in. They don't need to invest the time and energy into fixing Anthem because it's just not worth it to them. Cyberpunk, I think, is more in that No Man's Sky category where the CD Projekt needs to turn it around because it's the only game they have out. Like, yes, The Witcher 3 keeps selling well, but there's only so many times you can sell like a 6-year-old game. You need something new, and so like they need to fix it.
Right.
Okay, Skyrim is the exception.
Yeah, Skyrim is definitely the exception to that rule.
You're right. Bethesda doesn't need to make Elder Scrolls 6. They'll just put out Skyrim again.
Skyrim 6.
Skyrim remastered.
Yeah.
I agree that I think like this needs to be more money will be put into this because you're right, it does have to succeed. There was so much initial investment into it.
It's all they've got.
Yeah.
And that being said, just like you were mentioning with No Man's Sky, for instance, No Man's Sky just released a new, like, they just had an update, like, super recently, like today or a couple days even, where, like, they updated it for seasonal events and expeditions, whatever that is. But, like, they're still developing the game, and that game's still getting better than if you dump time into it.
The game is getting better, but let's not forget, you know, yes, we very much want to let No Man's Sky off the hook. But let's not forget that a lot of people played that game. It was terrible. It was not what was promised. They walked away and they never picked it back up again.
I really liked it when it released.
I thought it was okay. It was a crazy game, and then you had to put in it like 60 hours before you decided that you hated it.
I put in 60 hours and I was like, this is amazing. I like this. And then they added people and I was like, oh, fuck that.
To be fair, I just want to say that, like, for No Man's Sky, if you don't know the story, they were a small studio that got picked up by Microsoft, and like there were like 4 people making this game, and then their studio burnt down like over
I didn't know
halfway
that.
through their
Did it? Oh, I
development.
forgot about that.
Yeah, so and they lost all of their work outside of concepts that they like remembered and they were able to save.
Oh,
So
wow.
they still had to make that deadline for Microsoft that they were now indebted to, which is why it got pushed back so much. But there's only so much pushing back when you have to make a game from scratch again.
Right.
So
I did not know that.
Yeah, like No Man's Sky's development was outside of their control for some of it. And they kind of had to release early because they started over. And they were under contract at that point.
Right. I did not know that whole story. But even so, there were a lot of people that
Oh yeah.
went to that game and then bought it, realized that, 60 hours in, realized, hey, you know what? This isn't what we were promised. Where was all this stuff that we were supposed to get?
Yeah, and it is
And then
kind of
they
funny.
felt gypped, and then they walked away and never came back. And to this day, even with that, when you mention No Man's Sky, you have to couch it with saying, but it got better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do think it's the difference between them is interesting because a lot of the problems people had with No Man's Sky had to do with its design, had to do with like the things that we were promised we would be able to do in the trailer, like you can't do, like, oh, we thought you would have more ships, but you don't have more ships. We thought you could do this other stuff. Like it was an issue of design, whereas Cyberpunk was like an issue of what's the word?
Polish?
It's not so much polish, but like functionality. Someone that bought on PS4 is like, shit, this game just doesn't work. Like it's
Fair.
buggy. I can't play it because there's too many things getting in the way. Like with me and Bradwell Conspiracy, it's like, well, shit, I have to keep restarting a checkpoint because it's not recognizing this. And I'm not sure which one is better, but I just think it's interesting that like they're similar stories, but like the problems behind them are very different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I hope to see the same thing for Cyberpunk that No Man's Sky has gotten to.
Mhm.
Like, No Man's Sky, even for the people, like, it is considered a good to great game now. Like, for the people who've played it, the people who wanted to play it, it is there. And if Cyberpunk can eventually get to the point to those promises that we were offered, that will be a truly masterpiece game. It's just now they don't get the benefit of the doubt.
Right. But the question is, will those people come back? And will it, it will never, it will never, it doesn't matter how much of a masterpiece it could be. It'd be the greatest game ever made. It will never lose that stink.
Yeah.
That stink is permanent.
It will always be an asterisk next to its name.
All right. It's a permanent stink on the game. It is a permanent stink on the studio, and it will never go away. Ever, 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 ever.
I mean, maybe not ever, but like close enough that it's not important. Like I think
they're going to have to release a few amazing games before they look back and go, "Hey, remember that CD Projekt Red mess? Yeah, that was a real fuck up. Oh well, but you guys recovered in an amazing way. Like that's going to be a story, possibly.
Yeah,
but it's going to be a while.
Like all games, it's just a matter of time and distance from it, and then putting out new things, and that's just talking about years from now. Like it's too soon to know how any of that will turn out, but
there was a chance for Cyberpunk to be that cultural icon of a decade, that new Skyrim, and they missed that shot. There's no point in which I think they could recapture that wonder that everyone had for the game and deliver upon it.
That's true.
Oh yes, I love that T-Rex. I want one. That's the No Man's Sky I remember.
Yep.
Really? Because as someone who admitted I liked that game when it launched, I also say I never saw any animal that complex in any of the planets I visited.
All right. So, can we move on to this topic?
I'll just say Miles in the chat makes a good point. It'll recover in 10 years when some teenager picks it up and reacts to it on YouTube.
Yeah, probably.
Wow, look at
Fucking,
this
it'll
game. Look at
be the next
sleeper.
Among Us, right? Where some guy, like PewDiePie 2.0 is gonna pick it up and go, "Hey, look at this game that came out 10 years ago. It's so cool," and then
Right.
suddenly it's gonna be a big hit, and
Yeah. So moving right along. Anything else?
That's all I got.
okay. In just sale news and stuff, it's April, and with a new month comes a new batch of free games for Xbox Games with Gold and PS Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Games with Gold is kind of a low quality month. You have Vikings, the Wolves of Midgard, Truck Racing Championship, Hardcore Uprising, and probably the best game, Dark Void. Those last two are from the 360. And then PlayStation.
What's wrong with Vikings, the Wolves of Midgard? I have never heard of this game.
I think
That's what's wrong with it. It could be a fine game. I don't want to shit on Viking Wolves of Midgard. I'm just saying I have never heard of this game's existence until now. So
Metacritic 67%, Push Square 5.
okay, so take it with a grain of salt. Download it because it's free, and that's it.
Right, and that way you won't feel ripped off.
Yeah,
Don't expect the next greatest game. That's all.
exactly. Yeah. But what's interesting is Sony has a rather impressive month. They are giving away Zombie Army 4 and Days Gone for the PlayStation 4. And on PlayStation 5, they're giving away Oddworld Soulstorm, which is kind of one of the big PlayStation 5 exclusive games that they've been hyping up.
I was surprised about that. Like, yeah, that's one
Yeah.
of their like flagship titles that they've been hyping.
Honestly, I think it's probably a great idea because from what I've seen of that game, it looks cool. It also looks like an Oddworld game, which means it is a very niche puzzle game and not
Mhm.
necessarily something that's like a big AAA mainstream thing.
It has a cult following, and people are going to
Yeah,
buy it.
Cult following, not mainstream. And so the idea of them sort of using it as this value added thing for PlayStation Plus makes a lot of sense. Like, I don't want to shit on Oddworld. I really like the Oddworld games. I'm really looking forward to this, but I'm also a realist enough to say that it is not like a mainstream popular game.
Mm-mm. God, I remember playing this on PC when it first came out, like the first Oddworld.
Yeah, and this looks like Oddworld has dabbled in a lot of different genres over the years. This looks like it is like those first games. You know, it is a side-scrolling platformer.
I do want to say though that I think most people know what Days Gone is. If you don't, it's kind of this. It's essentially a survival zombie game, open world zombie game that, from my understanding, had kind of middling success. Where it's like people who played it was like, "This is a good zombie game," but it's nothing.
Yeah, I think
crazy.
its biggest flaw is that it was good. It was like, hey, this is a good game, but it doesn't really do anything to like stand out from the pack.
Yeah.
But it's not a game that you will like hate your time with in any way. And it's again another like Sony first party exclusive that they're giving away, which
I wanted to bring that up
neat.
Because this spring it will be coming to PC as well.
Oh, interesting.
So if you have a PC and you want to play this game, it will be coming to that platform sooner rather than later.
It does seem to me that between this, they're giving away Horizon Zero Dawn. It feels like Sony is using like the lack of new PS5 games. They're giving away a lot of their exclusive PS4 games as part of PlayStation Plus has a means to like compensate for the lack of new games coming out on PS5. You know, they're kind of using their library to boost their service when like they don't have any other new guys coming in.
Well, also, if they plan to do the PlayStation Collections, which is their answer to the Xbox Game Pass, where they're going to have a lot of those first-party titles. So if they give this away now before that becomes available, and if this is on the collections,
I thought the
Go ahead.
collections was a limited time thing.
I thought it was just like, hey, play this if you have the PlayStation Plus collection stuff, that you could play these games, which I may be wrong on.
I'll have to look that up.
Yeah, same. But if it is the case that I'm describing, then by giving this good game away that's eventually going to come effectively free for anyone who has PlayStation Plus, that's pretty smart. Like, that's a decent amount of goodwill, and it makes PlayStation Plus seem like a good offering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, it's also worth saying one of the reasons Sony might be interested in like really pumping up its free games for April is because another of its exclusive games, console exclusive games, is going to Xbox very soon. Like I don't know when MLB The Show is coming out exactly. Date. Shit. Anyways, it's coming out in April. Oh, April 20th. And the MLB The Show is like a very highly
Just
rated
2020
baseball
or
game.
2021?
21. MLB The Show 21. And it's a highly rated baseball game. And for the longest time, it has been exclusive to Sony consoles. And I don't know exactly what changed. Something behind the scenes changed. You know, sports deals are always getting changed around. But it's a Sony-developed game that is going to be published on Xbox and is actually coming out on Game Pass. So a Sony-published game will cost $70 on PlayStation, but will be free on Xbox if you have Game Pass.
It's gonna hurt.
So,
ouchie, that stings.
That is why I think they might be like, oh, we should put something big on PlayStation Plus this month just to like balance the scales.
God, yeah, that's gotta hurt. There's a lot of Japanese swear words going on in Sony's headquarters when that announcement hit.
And I've seen speculation that Sony develops this game. Like it's not like them outsourcing it somewhere. It's an internal studio, but it is still the MLB license.
Right.
And so that's why something like this happens, is because the license holder can say, we're not going to be console exclusive anymore. We still want you to develop it, and Sony might still want to develop it because it makes a lot of money, but the license holder will allow it to go to other platforms. And that's kind of the weird situation that allows a Sony developed game to appear on Microsoft.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, also, like, they also may get like other bonuses for developing this in-house that are beneficial to them, like maybe a higher market, like a higher cut from the profits, whatever. Like
yeah, it's something like that.
But yeah, that is rough. I think that Xbox is playing a very smart game with their pass. Like they're making moves with it.
Yeah, they are, and I hope that they don't get too cocky and raise the price, because I feel like $15 a month is already pretty pricey. Even though it's good, it's like you're doing a lot of good things, and I hope that it's not like, hey, guess what? We know you love Game Pass so much, we're upping it to $25 a month.
Right, like at 15, they are offering enough that it's worth it, but it's already high, and there's just
right. Everybody's kind of making Microsoft and Xbox out to be these white knights, that they're doing great things for gamers. It's like, yes, they are, but they could just as quickly not.
Don't forget that a few months ago they got rid of their year plan to try to sell their ultimate Game Pass. Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Don't forget they'll do that to you.
They're not your friend. They're frenemies at best right now.
And I have not actually found any information about the PlayStation Collection expiring. If it does, they haven't made any announcement. So, yeah, it seems like that's sort of a permanent
But that's only on PS5.
benefit. Yes.
Right. But they have gotten rid of the Vita. Oh, well, I mean, I don't want to get into it because I don't know all of the details, but you heard about what happened to the Vita store
Yeah,
and
the Vita storefront is
the Vita
closing down.
storefront. They're shutting it down, and they did not tell the developers that were making Vita games. They
Oh, I
found
didn't know
out
that.
in the news.
Because I was like, that kind of makes sense. The Vita hasn't been supported for a long time.
There were a lot of people that were still developing for the Vita, and were like literally working on it that morning. And somebody sent them
wow.
a news clip saying, "Hey, did you know that the PlayStation is shutting down the Vita store?" As they're working on the development of a Vita game
Shepard,
or
I
a
gotta
Vita
move
port.
you.
I liked the Vita. I liked the PlayStation handhelds.
I've heard good things
because
about it. I'll be right back.
they were stronger in comparison typically to like a DS.
Yeah.
Like Persona 4, I played that on the Vita, and that is such a good game that even if you play it on a handheld system,
Right.
it is fantastic.
I'm going into my drawer of tech. I must have it here somewhere because I keep all of my. Yep, there it is, right there. Woohoo! Look at this. First run, baby.
Hold on to it, Edie. It's going to be worth a shitload sometime soon.
PSP. Still got it.
Oh, wait, do I have?
Barely played.
I took my
And we
brother's.
bought two of them.
Did I? Oh no, it's not in there.
We bought
Never
two of
mind.
them. I even had to mark it with my name because we bought two of them.
And the PSP stuff did have a lot of the Monster Hunter stuff too.
Yep.
I forgot about that.
God. Oh, what? It has a disc in it. What does it have?
What is that? Serenity? What? Like,
The
it's not
movie?
just a game. You got the UMD movie? Oh my
did.
god.
That was a different time. The Vita
I
came
know.
out before there was a big market for like movies on smartphones.
God.
Like,
That was before smartphones.
Remember UMD movies? Oh, that was
Remember them.
that was a
Remember 'em?
time.
I'm literally got one right there.
God. That's
December
crazy.
17th, 2011.
I thought I had a Vita in one of these. Is it in
They're
there?
all looking. I don't know.
No.
Like one thing that I found Vita really fun for
Hmm.
was playing old PS1 games, or like certain like PS2 games.
Yeah.
Like the
Yeah.
only
Yeah.
PS1 game I ever went back to was.
By the way,
like,
if
Final
I die
Fantasy
in a
9.
car accident, there is a drawer right here. This is where all the cool stuff is. By the way,
That's why
Okay.
she died in a car accident. She got taken out.
right?
For a tech
That's
drawer.
got the PSP in it. It's got this. Do you know what this is?
Game Boy.
A stamp? A mirror? Oh, an iPod.
First generation iPod, the very first one. This is probably one of the first 1,000 that were sold in the Bay Area with the
Wow.
mechanical button and the mechanical scroll wheel, not touch scroll wheel. It's actually a thing that spins. Still works beautifully.
I'm kind of curious to see how much it's been sold for.
First
But-
generation iPhone, right there. Yep. No, I got all the cool. This is right here. This drawer right here has all the cool stuff in it.
All right, Edie. So apparently, anywhere from $60 to $300.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
That $300 was based for charity, I think. But yes, it looks like these things still sell for a lot.
Oh yeah. No, I'm never parting with this one. This
On
was
eBay.
this was a gift for me.
I like 8.
From Kevin, who had said to me, I got you an iPod. I'm like, what's an iPod? It's like, it holds all your music. And I'm like, well, why would I want that? I have a portable CD player. He's like, it holds all your music. I'm like, well, I only listen to one song at a time. Why do I need it? It took a while for me to actually, it sat unopened in the box for
Now-
a good 4 months before I
Now,
actually
years
figured it out.
later, you drink the apple Kool-Aid.
I very, very, very much
The
did. Oh,
apple flavored Kool-Aid.
let's see what other cool stuff I got in here.
I like in the chat, AC Ray says that he just got rid of his old VHS tapes last year.
Really?
The only other physical media he has is a DVD series of anime.
You know what this is?
Is that a
A card for a trash movie. Oh.
admit one? Wait, that's a ticket?
Oh.
Oh, it's for a screening, not a movie ticket.
This was not a screening. It was the screening of episode 1.
And then everyone
Ah.
was disappointed.
You know what? I actually watched that movie again recently with a friend. It's still better than Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah, it sure is.
You think so?
Hands down.
I don't know. I went back and rewatched.
Hands
Tried to
down.
I don't know.
Rise of Skywalker is not just bad and badly written, but it feels like it actively hates Star Wars at times. The way they treat C-3PO, C-3 was like, I will have to sacrifice myself for you to get your information. And they're like, good, do it. He's like, I have to say
You're a
goodbye to
robot.
my friends. Bye. Fuck off, C-3PO. We don't care about you. Like, God, that movie hates Star Wars.
iPod Nano, inbox, given to Kevin by M. Night Shyamalan.
What? Really?
Yeah.
How could
As
you
a
not
thank
get
you
his,
for-
how could you not like get his signature? Or something like that.
It says it on the back. It's
Oh, it
personalized.
does?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Everybody that worked on Lady in the Water got one. And yeah,
That's really awesome.
all the cool stuff. That drawer right there.
Now everyone knows where it's at. So if you need to go get some cool tech,
I know. So
Some
when I
cool
rob
old
your
tech.
house, presidents, military.
As my press pass to go to be part of the press corps for my old newspaper when the president visited. Yeah, all the cool stuff.
all right.
AC
Oh,
Wraith, I liked it too.
What?
Lady in the Water.
Yeah. He doesn't work for the company anymore. I can tell you the story. So, Lady in the Water was a very, 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 very different movie. And they did the movie. They completely finished it all up. It was all done, and they showed it to the Sony executives. Now, the Sony executives had got this movie based on M. Night getting really good reviews for Harrison
Signs, Unbreakable.
No, Harrison Ford.
Harrison Ford.
I
No,
See Dead People.
Sixth Sense.
Sixth Sense.
Bruce Willis.
Sorry, Bruce Willis.
Old white guy. Same thing.
Old white guy. so that was the movie after Sixth Sense, and so they
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't
Lady in the Water? No, he did Sixth Sense.
Right.
Then he did, I'm pretty sure then he did Signs. Then he did
Right.
Unbreakable.
Right.
And then he did Lady in the Water.
Okay, well, they were thinking this was along the same lines of a thriller of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
And he when he sold it to them, he had said, this is a fairy tale that I have written for my children. This is a fairy tale. This
Oh, right.
is not
he did
like the
Village
stuff.
at some point too.
Right, exactly. This is not the stuff that I normally do. This is a fairy tale that I have written for my children, and this is the movie that I want to make. And they like, fine, no problem. You're Sixth Sense guy. Go nuts. He brought this beautiful fairy tale movie back to them. And the Sony guys were like, what the fuck is this? This isn't what we fucking bought. It's like, yeah, it is. I said it was a fairy tale. He's like, we didn't want a fairy tale. It's like, well, I said it was a fairy tale. Or like, no, you need to go back. You need to recut it. So they had to go back and remake the whole movie into something completely different, into a thriller or into a scary movie. And that is how Lady in the Water ended up. And that is why Night gave everybody an iPod, because essentially everybody that worked post-production had to do it twice. Once for the way it was supposed to be, which Kevin said was a really good movie. And the second time, making a shitty movie out of it. That was what the Sony executives wanted.
Okay, you know what? If we can get the Snyder cut, can we get the Shyamalan cut of Lady in the Water?
Would be nice. He might not never do it. He's a really nice guy. He's a really nice guy.
I'm sure.
The only
As
thing
opposed
I
to
remember,
other directors that Kevin has worked with
He's
who are
got his
not
Apple
nice
series
guys.
now. He's doing fine.
Yeah. No, he
instead of like Joss Whedon.
Kevin never worked for Joss
Yeah.
Whedon. Did he? No. Who did? The first Guardians of the Galaxy? That wasn't Whedon, was
James
it?
Gunn.
Okay. I don't think he ever did anything with Joss Whedon.
I do want to say the only thing I remember him for, and the only thing I will ever remember him for, is the last Airbender, Avatar: The Last Airbender,
Shyamalan.
live action. Oh no, that movie.
That's not a good representation. I am a fan of M. Night Shyamalan. He makes good little thrillers. When he plays in his sandbox, he does very well.
Right. He makes good little thrillers and would make other stuff, but nobody will let him make anything other than good little thrillers. Lady in the Water being an example of that. It was a good movie. It was a really good movie. According to Kevin.
Well,
Also, he had kind of a
terrible.
there was a couple years there where he was not putting out good stuff. After Earth.
Yeah. Well, because they were making him do a bunch of. I mean, I don't know this for certain, but when you've got somebody who's working on stuff that he doesn't want to make, I think in a lot of ways, Lady in the Water kind of might have broken him. I mean,
Even when he was doing his own thing, The Happening is a wonderfully goofy movie that takes itself super seriously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm a fan of him. Even when he makes bad stuff, it's always like, this is interestingly bad.
Yep. So how do we get on this? Oh, all right. So do we have anything else? We have nothing else.
No, I don't have any. I haven't played anything else.
We're patting the movie like an M. Night Shyamalan.
Wow.
No, it's called Gilding the Lily. We're gilding the lily. All right. So anything else? I am making no promises this week, but you might see me on what's that game you want me to play again? Warframe.
The thing that your chat's been yelling at you for about 1,000 years.
I might do some.
I feel like you'll play Tsushima before you play Warframe.
Yeah, you'll load on, you'll go to Warframe, and then you'll see Tsushima next to it, and you're like, click.
Yeah, no. I might do Warframe.
Good.
Rhythm Bat says, not a joke, but how's the girlfriend, Nick?
Good, actually. Yes,
yeah, this is our AMA hour. Ask us anything.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, she was over like a week ago. We played Mario Party. It was really fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yes, Nick does clip his toes before the show. Yes. You were
What? What?
What? Did I miss something?
No.
I don't see that. Okay.
It's the AMA.
I'll have you know, I do
AMA,
not clip my toenails before the show.
Ask us anything. We will answer.
The show.
I can see it.
I think I keep looking down. I'm not looking at my phone. I'm looking at my feet.
Oh, I guess I don't know the story, but since someone mentioned John Wick, did you guys talk about the fact that there's a Ghost of Tsushima movie in production?
Yeah, of course.
Yes, from the creators of John Wick.
Good. Just wanted to bring it up.
From the director of John Wick, I should say.
All right.
To be fair, though, we are at 2.5 hours now.
We should stop.
Yeah.
Says the guy who intentionally took personal joy in making us go 3 hours.
Okay, guys, you heard it here.
I mean, if you want to talk more about My Hero Academia, I'm down for that.
What? I'm sorry. What?
So yeah, My Hero Academia season 5.
What? I'm sorry. What?
I'm kind of interested in Berserk. Keanu Reeves has another comic out.
And see, Nick, this is why this is
why you don't want to give me that power, because then I'll be able to retaliate, and it's like giving everyone nukes.
Wait a minute. I have 0 fucks giving 0 fucks today. You have 1 fuck to give. Nick, what is yours?
It was Kyle's. Remember, you made the joke way at the top of the show that I give 0 fucks, I give 0 Kyle's. I forget what it came from.
I got it. All right. So, without further ado, any other reason why we shouldn't close this out right now?
My
Oh, wait,
personal
someone's making a
enjoyment.
Helsing movie? Are they really?
All right, let's close this out.
Interesting.
You've been listening to GameHounds episode. Oh, wait, there we go. You've been listening to GameHounds episode 588. We recorded this on Sunday, April 4th, 2021. I've been Edie Sellers. With me has been Nick DiNicola and Andrew Smith. Ways to get a hold of us: gamehounds.net is the website, gamehounds@gmail.com is our
All right,
email.
Sega.
We record this show live every Sunday at 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern on Spreaker. That's speaker with an R, Spreaker.com. You can listen to us live and be in the chat room. You can also watch us live. We are on Facebook. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. On YouTube, we are at GameHounds Vids. On Facebook and Twitch, we are the GameHounds. We do record this show as a video cast. Thank you to every single one of our patrons who allow your generosity allows us to do this video feed. So thank you, thank you, thank you. You know who you are. We do too. So thank you. If you would like to be a patron, you can check us out at patreon.com/GameHounds. And please join us live in the chat room or at any of those other locations for the video or the audio. But if you want to listen to us after the fact, you can go to Spreaker, you can go to iTunes, you can go to iHeartRadio, Google Play, and Spotify. Listen to us as GameHounds Podcast. We would love to have you there. Nick, Andrew, thank you so much for being here all together this week. Thank you very so much for picking up the slack for me.
I like to show up at least once a month. It helps.
All right. Talk to y'all next week. Bye-bye, everyone.
Have a good night.
Bye. All right. Potting down. And we are out of the audio, still in video.
Okay, so this is when the real AMA begins.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Ask those burning questions everyone's always had for the show.
Yep. Miles says, can he be a sub guest one time?
Sure.
Sure. Come on.
I wouldn't mind doing an episode where we just had, have guests come on.
Look what I can do now. Can I do that for? I can't. I can only do this. I can
Look
put
what
users
I
on
can do.
YouTube on a timeout. I did not. Oops, sorry. Didn't
No.
mean to do that. I can
No,
put
no.
users on YouTube on a timeout.
No, look what I can do. Made the show better.
Oh, okay. I see how this is.
So yeah, Miles, absolutely. Send me your let's see.
Email?
Can I send a private message to you? No, we cannot.
No, it's not over. Keep asking your questions. Come on.
Yeah, no, it's not over. Go ahead.
We have 30 minutes.
Send me. No, we don't. Send me your your password. Send me your email over Discord. Go to our Discord, by the way. Yes, our Discord. Don't forget about that. Go on our Discord and shoot me a private message with your email. And yeah, absolutely, we would make you a sub. Why not?
He says he'll sub when all three are unavailable.
Wow.
No. Nice thought, but no. Yeah, don't forget our Discord. It is very much still a thing. We would love to have you join us. That password, the Discord here, it is, use it anytime. We're frequently on that. I this last couple of weeks I haven't replied back and I haven't streamed on there very much, but I have been doing some, I've been watching and I've been posting whenever I see that if there's a PlayStation or an Xbox coming on sale, if I've got any amount of time,
that is
I will
right.
usually post that.
PlayStation's having like a big indie sale. Another big
Mhm.
sale.
And I just want to call out for Reaper. You do provide some good links.
Oh,
and some
Reaper,
good-
God, you're amazing.
Although
Yes,
I
thank
take issue, you put that mango Pepsi flavor in gross supermarket items. That is not a gross supermarket items. Mango and
I've
Pepsi
heard
go to-
it's,
I actually went and bought some, and I'm like, you know what? This is pretty good.
I've heard it's gross, super gross. So
No, look, most soda flavor, especially if it's like fruity flavor, it's like whatever. It tastes just like a Pepsi with kind of a you can smell like, oh, that kind of smells like a fruit. Okay.
So yeah, we actually have a channel called Gross Supermarket Finds. So if you find something, lemon crisp Kit Kats, ugh.
No,
If you find something
any Kit Kat's
gross
delicious.
in there in the supermarket, take a picture and post it up
It
to
actually kind of sounds pretty good, so I can't.
Yeah,
complain.
right? Kit Kat can do no wrong.
no. What was this? Dairy-free shrimp bisque? Oh god. Oh god. And it's reduced to $1.25.
Okay.
Not low enough. That is disgusting.
Rules
Okay,
for
so
that chat.
he even says that he likes the Mega one too. So see,
Rules for this chat: if you use it, it has to be something you find in person. You can't just post gross stuff on the internet because there's a shit ton of gross stuff on the internet. It has to be fun when you find it in store. That's all. Like, it would suck, and that's all.
Mango Pepsi. That just sounds awful, Nick.
no, it's good.
Have you've had it?
Yes, I bought a pack. It
Oh,
tastes
you
like
went-
Pepsi.
Okay. Cinnamon Toast Crunch Cinnadust. That doesn't sound bad.
Has a breakfast item instead of like cinnamon sugar. I could kind of see it.
That's one that just the peaches and cream
Peaches and
flavored
cream.
icing grand cinnamon rolls.
Yeah.
That ain't right.
Oh yeah. Then some various Peeps flavors seemed really awful.
Yeah,
Well,
Root
it's
beer
'cause-
Peeps.
I mean, Peeps in general are awful. We've covered that. Those ruin your life, guys.
I would
Hot
like to
tamales
try.
Peeps.
I would like to try some chocolate dipped Peeps.
I would
I have
totally
seen them,
eat a chocolate
and
dip
I would.
Peep.
I've not been able to find any on sale anywhere.
Oh no.
Just all kinds of bad ideas.
Ryan Stevenson says that his 3-year-old calls Kit Kats zigzags.
Zigzags. Aw, that's kind of cute.
No, not veg.
Japan apparently. DJ Phil Collins says Japan has some challenging Kit Kat
I know
flavors.
they had. I think I got one at a Fanime convention one. It was like a green tea flavored Kit Kat, and it was weird,
Yeah,
but it
no,
was
green-
but it was still a Kit Kat.
right. It was
And I was
good.
like,
I've had
I
that.
still like Kit Kat.
Have I tried Vegemite? Yes, I have tried Vegemite, and it's British cousin Marmite. They are both foul. One of my roommate in
What is it?
It's vegetable starch. My roommate in college
Okay.
was Australian, and she had Vegemite, and it is this kind of vegetable paste stuff that you spread on toast, and it is disgusting. It's their version of peanut butter, but we make it out of peanuts. They make it out of vegetable starch.
Oh, when you put it that way,
It
like
ain't good.
broccoli butter.
It is not good. You have to grow up on that shit to actually like it.
Mm.
Yeah, no, Vegemite is some truly, and I will eat anything. Anything. I will try anything once. And there's very few things in this world I won't touch. I won't touch tripe. That was because my parents loved it and cooked it all the time. Tripe is disgusting. I don't care how your abuela made it. Tripe is awful. Let's see what else. I won't touch lentils. They're disgusting.
Shepherd.
Anybody who tells you otherwise is lying.
I've heard lentils are really good for you, though.
They're really good for you. Well, I mean, they're no
That's correct.
better for you than beans. That's all they are. Is just
Okay, you know what?
Middle
What is
Eastern
disgusting
beans.
is him eating duct tape.
Oh, he eats duct
Shepherd?
tape?
Yeah, I have some duct tape on the couch from where he was scratching, and now he's like licking it. Motherfucker!
He's just sitting up there licking the duct tape.
Jesus.
It may be very well that that's something in the adhesive, so I would watch that carefully.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, lentils are fantastic for bean burgers. That's great. Lentils, I there is one particular kind of lentil, and I can't remember. It's not your typical lentil. It's a very specific type of lentil that is not bad. It hasn't got that lentil-y flavor to it, but I can't remember. It's like a fairly rare variety. But that being said, Vegemite is just in fucking edible, unless you are Australian and that's what you grew up on. Like, if you don't know any better.
Good to know. I will never try it.
Yeah. Miles says foul is one way to put it. Vegetable starch with a heavy malt flavor. Yeah, it's malted vegetable starch.
Nick, just so you know, I sent you Kit Kat flavors from Japan on Discord. So
Okay.
if you ever want to look into that fun stuff.
Oh yeah. Miles says Shepard is still around. Jupiter's the one with the heart condition.
Yeah.
Although I guess Shepard is eating tape, so who the fuck knows how long he has. But he's still around.
All right. Well, that closes our AMA, and we'll be back next week. Thank you, everyone, very much from the bottom of our, especially our patrons for.
Oh, holy
supporting
cow!
This. What?
Japan has so many flavors of Kit Kats.
Why are you? Why did you not put it in the gross supermarket item so that I could share it with everybody? Andrew,
Sublime bitter.
I
Milk,
will.
coffee,
Again,
strawberry, sparkling strawberry, Big Little.
Big Little.
Big Little.
There you go.
DJ says I've never heard his name before. I legit thought you named him motherfucker.
Oh.
That's officially Jupiter's name now, is motherfucker.
That's both of their middle names. Honestly, it's both of them. Like, you can't see it. You can't see it. I will turn the camera down a little bit, and you got a big old cat butt right there. He's right in front of the computer. No, get out of there. Go.
So yeah, in the Discord right now we have a brand new listing, which is the 204 Kit Kat flavors from Japan.
Lemon vinegar Kit Kats.
Lemon vinegar?
Green soybean rice cake. Soy sauce. Oh, there's a soy sauce flavored Kit Kat?
Oh,
holy cow.
Chocolate banana. I could be on board with that one.
Okay, orange, pineapple, blueberry, lemon cheesecake, lemon. Those all sound fine.
So DJ, is that the heart that what you imagine the little like what a little cat butt looks like?
No. He
cat
said
butthole?
DJ is the one who sent the link to me, and I'm the one who.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, salt and pop. Wait, Muscat of Alexandria?
Nice.
A
Zuki sandwich. Yes.
Ooh,
Okay,
maple
I'm
syrup
sharing
actually
the
sounds
screen.
good.
All right, give me a second.
White chocolate Kit Kat. What? That's awesome. We have this
Yeah.
here.
White peach and yellow peach, two different things.
Pineapple. I would totally eat a pineapple Kit
Ooh,
Kat.
tiramisu Kit Kat. That sounds really good.
Ooh, that does sound good.
Okay, maybe
Nice.
not cola and lemon squash.
Salt and puff.
Aloe.
No, you know what?
yogurt.
You know what?
Ew.
DJ Phil, I would, if I saw any of these, I would try them. I would
Oh,
at
I would
least try
absolutely
any
try
of
them.
these.
Absolutely.
I would try every single one.
Absolutely. No
Ooh,
question.
triple chocolate? Oh shit. I would absolutely try any sort of Kit Kat. I trust because
Plum
at its core,
soda.
Kit Kat is just good. The biscuits, you can't go wrong.
Gotta say though, yeah, aloe yogurt Kit Kat, gross. Aloe should not be a flavor.
No apricot jelly,
Oh my gosh.
pumpkin pudding.
God, we're only at 65, and there's how many? 204.
Yeah.
Yeah, once you get to 70,
University potato.
once you get to 70, you got to go to the next
Hey,
page.
why are they
What the
calling
fuck
out?
is a university potato?
Why are they
It's
calling
a smart
that out
potato.
Like that?
It went to university.
Apparently.
It wasn't satisfied with high school or community college. That potato's like, I'm gonna graduate. I'm gonna get a
I'm
bachelor's.
getting my bachelor's. No AA for me.
Yeah, and then it gets eaten.
Hokkaido potato, Hokkaido grilled corn.
Oh, corn. Ooh, hazelnuts.
Hokkaido big potato looks like it's a or Hokkaido potato is looks like it's a baked white potato.
Nice. That's gross, but nice. Vanilla ice Kit Kat.
Sports drink.
Drink.
Ew.
Hey, don't knock it.
Calpus. Please tell me that's not what it sounds like.
No. Regardless,
I don't think it's cow piss.
it's an
I don't know what Calpus
uncarbonated
is, though.
soft drink.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Ooh,
Caramel macchiato?
I
Damn.
unfortunately-
Absolutely. Bring it.
I
Cookies
unfortunately
and cream.
have to head out.
Ooh, almond
So
vanilla. Yeah, see, some of these look delicious.
Yeah.
I'll let you guys continue your journey.
Espresso.
Have a wonderful afternoon.
Apple vinegar.
You don't want to take this journey through Japan culture?
I have to step away, unfortunately, or I'd love to.
Gigantic grapes.
Hey, mild bitter Kit Kats. What we need now is a bitter plus Kit Kat.
Yeah.
Like, yes.
Ooh, yeah. That'd be cool if you could find it.
What is a gigantic grape?
It's a big ass grape.
Yeah.
I think it's a little something more than that.
Special
All right.
Have a good night, everyone.
Yes, enough.
Yes, but-
Enough.
oh,
We're
wine!
closing. Wine
Hey, there was a wine flavored Kit Kat.
or noir flavored Kit Kat. What the fuck is noir?
What
Now
does it
we're
taste
getting into like the
The
truly
after
experimental
dark.
flavors.
Noir is whiskey, cigarette smoke, and black and white.
No.
That's what it tastes like.
Oh, okay. I'm like, really? Because at this point, I would believe that they flavored it with anything. It's like
Yeah,
ashtray,
cigarette ash and whiskey. Yeah,
foot
that's
fungus
noir.
Kit Kat.
All right. Have a good night, everyone.
All right. Have a talk to
Bye.
everybody later. Thank you so much. If you want to continue this conversation, please go to the Discord channel. It is right there. All of this stuff and more waiting for you in the Discord. So we'll talk to you later. Have a great week, everyone.